find you. No one. Where can you go? Everywhere. With unlimited super-fast internet access, free Intel-to-Intel calls, and crystal-clear quality conversations, you can do and be whatever you want to be.
Intel. Live more.
She cries. She cries in anguish and in pain. She bears the scourge of her grief. She toils in vain for justice and succumbs to silence. He gloats over his malady. Like a beast, he pounces with no remorse. Her cry means nothing. Her pain feeds her shame. Like an orphan, she's left to grieve in solitude. But no more will she cry in vain. Her adversaries will henceforth bear the brunt of their cruelty. Rape is evil. Rape is a plague, a pandemic of monumental consequences. We must unite and kick it out of our society.
Connect with NTA and stand against rape and rapists. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.
Create the shape of the fan. Fold it this way, just fold it anyhow you want. Just make sure the end process is neat. So we can have something like this, and I bet you it's going to come out really nice. So your hand on it to dry it. If you feel a little bit lazy, you could just place anything. Like you could just place this on it and let it dry. I'm going to get this hair clip for my hair because I want to make the gift pack more personal. So I'm going to uncouple it and then attach it somewhere. You just personalize it doing this. You turn it around and we'll still go ahead with the personalization process. So our butterfly is going to be somewhere. Check your 3D fabric paints to make sure the tip is open, because sometimes they get blocked, and when they get blocked, when you write, the writing gets wobbled. So okay, that means we're good to go.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you. In your living room, office, and everywhere, anywhere. We provide the company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs, and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV channel 251, GoTV channel 91, Freeview channel 264, or live streaming via www.visiontv.co.uk. Application.
I have directed that all elders abandoned farm estates be retrieved to enable thousands of our young men and women to be engaged in farming.
Energizing the federal government's drive towards optimal agricultural value chain, President Buhari flags off National Young Farmers Scheme.
I don't get a lot.
Artisans in the nation's capital in high spirit as actual disbursement of survival grant begins.
The most important element will be political commitment.
Correspondent on COVID-19 vaccine journey, availability and access. Plus, U.S. President-elect Biden's camp considers legal action as INEC gives status report on halted by-elections. Hello and welcome to the Network News, reaching you live from our network studio in Abuja. I'm Ian Ray John. Dr. Guyeme is also with me tonight in our Lagos studios. Thank you for joining us. The agricultural sector is on the front burner tonight, as after nearly 20 years in limbo, the National Agricultural Land Development Authority, established in 1992 to bring development to the rural communities through agriculture, has been resuscitated. At a formal relaunch of the program, President Muhammadu Buhari also flagged off the National Young Farmers Scheme, designed to engage, encourage and attract Nigerians into the full value chain of agribusiness. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has details.
The National Young Farmer Scheme, which is one of the several programs of the National Agricultural Land Development Authority, NALDA, is to engage 1,000 farmers from each of the 774 local government areas of the country, thereby creating 774,000 direct employment annually. Out of the 1,000 farmers per local government, 500 will be engaged in crop production, 400 in animal husbandry, and 100 in processing and marketing.
I sincerely assure you, Mr. President, that NALDA under your watch will achieve food security, job and wealth creation in our country.
President Muhammadu Buhari described the flag off of the scheme at this time as a demonstration of commitment by his administration to youth empowerment as well as food security.
I have directed that all NALDA's abandoned farm estates be retrieved to enable thousands of our young men and women to be engaged in farming. This administration will be achieving agricultural mechanization through this scheme, and I am confident that Nigeria will achieve food security in producing most of what we eat. By virtue of my passion and desire for agriculture, and also as a farmer myself, I am directly supervising NALDA as an authority under the presidency.
The federal government, the president promised, will do everything towards ensuring that NALDA's mandate is translated to food security and sufficiency, expressing optimism that with the progress so far achieved in agriculture, Nigeria will in a few years begin to earn more revenue from export of agricultural commodities.
It is my expectation that the scheme will take in young Nigerian graduates and non-graduates alike and be part of this government's effort to reduce unemployment and contribute to the regeneration of agriculture and our economy. I charge the Executive Secretary, CEO of NALDA, and his team to continue to live up to expectations and know that communities around the country are looking forward to their positive presence in all localities.
At the remarkable event, various stakeholders delivered goodwill messages, including Fatima Usman Musa from the Area 1 Durumi IDP camp, representing the young farmers.
Thank you for bringing back NALDA.
We cannot continue to doubt, criticize and dislocate government reforms and efforts to create a better life for the citizens. Let us give our programs a chance. Please let us keep hope alive. Financing is available for all those who are willing and able and demonstrate commitment to undertake activity in the agricultural space. And we thank you and we congratulate you.
This sector is therefore the game changer to our economy, to our political stability, and to our security, Your Excellency. And I want to promise you once again that we'll continue to give you the kind of support that you need on such programs until we take Nigeria to the next level.
The stakeholders appeal to communities, local as well as state governments to not only donate but also facilitate the acquisition of land for NALDA to develop. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Similarly, the Director General of Voice of Nigeria and Chieftain of the All Progressives Congress, Osita Okechukwu, has appealed to Nigerians to key into the Agrarian Revolution program under the Buhari-led administration. Addressing journalists at the APC National Secretariat in Abuja, this, he says, is a road map to a speedy achievement of financial independence, especially among the teeming youths and women. Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara reports.
Launched in the early stage of the Buhari administration, precisely on 17th November 2015, the Buhari Agrarian Revolution is a policy that is aimed at driving the country's desire for food safety and security.
Of the almost 4 million square meter space of Nigeria is fertile.
The Director General Voice of Nigeria has acknowledged the growing figure of food production, particularly rice, which the rice farmers say increased as a result of the Anchor Borrowers program and ban on forex for food importation, coupled with land border closure. Government efforts in providing an atmosphere for various innovations by youth to thrive in the areas of small and medium-scale entrepreneurial skills and subsistence farmers migrating to commercial farmers are government policies that require more commitment and sincere support by the citizens.
What I call the Buhari Agrarian Revolution, for me, it is a roadmap to Nigeria's resettlement. Our people, especially the teeming youths and women, are here to embrace this milestone as expected. I wish the state governors will join Mr. President and put more effort in what they are doing.
Lifting 100 million people out of poverty in 10 years, reducing economic inequality, enhancing internal democracy as the bedrock of true democracy, he agreed, remains the top priority of the current administration. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, NTA News.
Now, talking politics, President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the registration of new members for the governing All Progressives Congress, APC. The president gave the approval at an audience with the party's caretaker and extraordinary convention planning committee, led by its chairman and the governor of Edo State, Mai Malabuni. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has the report.
A Mai Malabuni-led caretaker and extraordinary convention planning committee of the governing APC was in the State House to present to President Muhammadu Buhari the timetable for the party's registration and revalidation exercise. Section 9, subsection 4 of the party's constitution 2014 as amended empowers the committee to, in consultation with all stakeholders, organize membership registration. Provision is also made that the party shall update its membership records every 6 months and remit updated copies to the appropriate secretariats of the party.
The last registration we had was in 2013, and now we are in 2020. So we are going to register those who have not registered before and revalidate and then update our membership register. As from today, we are commencing with sensitization, and thereafter it will culminate to membership registration across the country. The National Executive Committee of the party said we must rebuild the party bottom up. In trying to achieve this, the National Caretaker Committee met after consultation with all relevant stakeholders, with all the 36 state chairman, with Abuja, and all the non-NWC NEC members and other leaders We have all agreed and to start the process earnestly.
The APC caretaker and extraordinary convention planning committee described as baseless, unfounded and mischievous insinuation in some quarters that the members are planning to stay in office for a period longer than necessary.
We are empowered by the National Executive Committee of the party to discharge certain responsibilities. We are not job seekers. We are here to work for our party, to reposition our party, to reunite our party, to solidify our party, to ensure that we have a party we can all be proud of. In democracy, you cannot stop anybody from saying what he wants to say.
We are conscious that this assignment will unfold, and intervening circumstances across the country have made it more difficult. The party lost a serving governor to the opposition. So the chairman came at a time when the morale was weak. They have worked so hard, including the winning of Edo State gubernatorial election.
In the meantime, Governor Mai Mala Buni said the committee is continuing the reconciliation efforts and members are proud of the work done so far towards securing Edo State for the party and the return of high-profile members such as former Speaker of the House of Representatives Yakubu Dogara and Senator Barnabas Gemade to the APC family. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
The United Nations has reiterated commitment to resettlement of internally displaced persons in their ancestral homes to enable them return to normal life. The Deputy UN Secretary General, Amina Mohammed, stressed the position of the United Nations while briefing newsmen shortly on arrival from Banki town in Bama local government area of Borno State, housing internally displaced persons as part of an official engagement in the country. Mohammed Goni reports that the UN Deputy Secretary General was accompanied on the visit by Governor Babagana Umar Zulum.
The United Nations Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed was in Borno as part of the UN's delegation's tour of African countries that include Nigeria, Niger, Mali, Sierra Leone and Ghana. Banki town in Bama local government is a community where government has joint border program with the UN, and the visit by the UN delegation was to assess the humanitarian situation occasioned by the security challenges with a view to taking an informed decision on what needs to be done to improve on the livelihoods of the IDPs and to begin the process of resettlement and reintegration of the population now that the security situation there has improved.
But that also requires support, and that support needs to come in terms of security so that we have a better security situation, and at the same time the investments that are needed for that livelihoods, a socioeconomic impact, more infrastructure.
The UN Deputy Secretary General said the camp at Banki is overcrowded and the demand is high, and that based on the interaction they had with the IDPs, they are tired and want to go back home to normal life, adding that what is needed is to speed up the resettlement process in line with plans and priorities of government. In Maiduguri, Mohammed Goni, NTA News.
In other news, the Senate has continued to stress the need for ministries, departments and agencies of government to complement the policies of the federal government on social safety nets, especially in 2021. At the 2021 budget defense by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, the Senate Committee on Diaspora and Non-Governmental Organizations urged them to expand their scope of operation to include facilitation of employment opportunities for Nigerians abroad. Ignatius Nko reports.
The Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Zubairu Dada, and the Chairman of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabire Rewa, provided explanations on the 598.3 million naira 2021 budget of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission. 354.5 million is for capital, while the Parliamentary Committee was not satisfied with the 143.7 million earmarked for personnel.
For the EPs, that should not be a problem, because it's centralized and it's not within our powers to change it.
So the first question will they be able to pay salary with this huge reduction? And it's part of our responsibility to see that we look, what is the issues, what's the problem, or why is it reduced?
That this commission can also come up with a database of Nigerians who are interested in working outside the country.
Today now we received a group of an NGO that wants to look at the issue of Nigerians in prisons abroad. There's a lot to do about welfare of our people abroad. We're getting to a state where Nigerians all over the world, the respect is coming back.
The Senior Special Assistant to the President on Sustainable Development Goals, Adejoke Orelope Adefulire, presented the 2021 budget of the office to the Senate Committee on SDGs for consideration.
And we'll be happy that if you have some senators also to join us as we hand over the project to the community in various states that we have implemented.
If there is no need for her coming back or calling her back for more clarification, we don't need to invite her again.
Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Sunday Dare, defended the ministry's 2021 budget before the Senate Committee on Sports with emphasis on improving funding for the ministry. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
And still on Budget, Defense, Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed has presented a budget proposal of 947 million naira for the year 2021 to run the culture and tourism sector of his ministry. Anthony Forson reports.
Giving a breakdown on how the funds should be expended, Lai Mohammed said the ministry will engage in a series of activities both at home and abroad. Some of the foreign events, though statutory.
Participating at UNWTO, ATA, UNESCO, African Union, ECOWAS conferences, AU Ministers of Culture conferences, etc. And we are budgeting 88 million. Participation in UNESCO General Conferences, these are statutory conferences. We are proposing 31,519,517 naira.
And in the home front, there will be
vamping of existing cultural industries centers in Nigeria. We are proposing a sum of 157,974,604 for these 14 cultural centers.
Defending the 2020 revised appropriation, the minister said the 164 million appropriated, same amount was released for projects and programs in the sector. Chairman of the committee, Omorege Ubede Ihama, while commending the Minister for Fiscal Discipline, called on departments and agencies under the ministry to take a cue.
From this presentation, the minister had 100% releases and has performed very close to 100% in all of them, which I think it's laudable. You don't have any business in keeping government money in your possession. If it has been appropriated for, it should be spent accordingly. And for agencies that are here, if you have not expended your capital project at least up to 70%, and we're in November, I don't think you have any business to be in this hall to try to want to present a proposal for 2021.
The culture sector takes care of international cultural relations, entertainment and creative services, promoting cultural industries and heritage, as well as ecotourism. From the National Assembly, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Meanwhile, ministries, departments and agencies under the Ministry of Information and Culture should concentrate more on inside-generated revenue to enable them perform better with little support from the federal government. This was at the 2021 Budget Defense before Senate Committee on Information and National Orientation in Abuja. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday reports.
Their outfits are some of the worst hit by COVID-19 as a result of social distancing, lockdown, and other protocols. NTA led in the defense, where the Director General Yakubu Ibn Muhammad reviewed the appropriations with the hope of better performance going forward, especially in its efforts towards the completion of its permanent sites and digital switchover.
Our COVID-19 involvement in terms of jingles and programs, November 3rd this year, stands at 630,500,000 naira. If we include live coverages of PTF briefings, the figure will exceed 1 billion naira. The authority is yet to receive any form of intervention in this regard.
For APCON, the advent of social media is a major challenge.
The way we are currently structured, we don't have the empowerment to monitor the digital media.
What I want to say is just to put more effort in internal generation. The agency has suffered over the years, particularly in the year 2020.
With its 8.2 billion naira proposal, Director General of National Orientation Agency, Garba Abari, said his projection is for 2021 to be better, as the National Film and Video Censors Board also made its defense.
Monitoring and evaluation to make sure that a couple of things did not happen in this country. So this budget was reduced to almost, the 2021 was reduced to almost nothing.
For the nation media regulator, National Broadcasting Commission, the acting Director General, Professor Armstrong Etiaba, said 2021 will be a better year. Some of the agencies were asked to return after perfecting their defense. Adebola, Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
Ahead, hope in sight for the world as COVID-19 vaccine trial passes third phase. Also, more on the National Assembly budget defense. This and more in the second part of tonight's news. Do stay.
My tailor don't be your mate. He don't live for your grade. If he knock you a bata, tell nobody hey lambo. Anytime I want to celebrate, he goes so the clock he no delay to. He dey sweet me like a chocolate. Oh. My tailor no dey disappoint. Oh. Tailor we go Harvard University. Oh yo yo. You don't go the job like a baka. If you see my tailor,
make that switch today and enjoy all calls at 11 kobo per second. Free data on every recharge and double data for 3 months on the network with the widest 4G coverage.
Okay, my tailor.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Mommy is back.
Guess what's inside?
Chocolate. Biscuit.
Our new toothpaste, Colgate Maximum Cavity Protection.
Why are we changing our toothpaste?
Because with Colgate Maximum Cavity Protection, I can be sure your teeth are cavity-free.
Cavity? What cavity?
Let me show you.
Most toothaches are caused by tooth holes called cavities. When you brush daily with Colgate Maximum Cavity Protection, its expert formula locks natural calcium in our teeth and helps protect them from cavity.
It also has natural mint for minty fresh breath every day.
Mom, can I eat chocolates now?
As long as you brush with Colgate Maximum Cavity Protection.
Colgate is the world's most chosen toothpaste.
Colgate locks calcium in.
Keeps cavities out!
Recommended by the Nigerian Dental Association.
If you run mad, we know waiting cause am. Every time na this phone. Have you gone to buy more units for light? Give me this phone. Ha! They don't finally get you. Enter store, you go see one pink nylon. Bring and come. If you try am. Now that chicken where they use corner look me. Now I want to. That one.
Oh! So now why you send me message when no get with this? Shate. Make yourself begin to enjoy credit and data. Berekete.
Introducing Berekete. Activate a new Glow SIM and get 600 naira free credit plus 700% bonus on every recharge and up to 100% bonus on data plans. Find your first with Berekete. Glow Unlimited.
Morning. First on the news. The World Health Organization has declared Nigeria wild polio virus free.
Nah, you don't mean it.
Nigeria is polio-free. Does that mean vaccinators will not be coming to our houses? Let's listen, please.
The Honorable Minister stated that Nigeria is still at risk of importing the wild polio virus, as 2 other countries still have the virus. Thus, to keep polio at zero, vaccination must be sustained on a regular basis.
But how can they sustain this vaccination with this coronavirus?
Let's listen now. Wow.
Health workers in all PHCs across the country have been trained by the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency to protect themselves and their clients against COVID-19. Nigerians have absolutely nothing to fear.
Continue to visit primary health care centers near you for vaccination and other basic health needs.
Keep polio at zero. Congratulations, Nigeria.
This message is brought to you by the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency.
Sticky, spicy, sweet.
Don't touch me. I will get you arrested.
Carefully, very, very meaty.
Enjoy faster internet connectivity on Airtel Home Broadband. Get more than enough data on Airtel Router in MiFi and bring the most to your doorstep with Airtel Smartbox Outdoor Unit. Visit any Airtel shop or dealer's outlets to enjoy these amazing offers. More data, more you. Reliable home broadband by Airtel, the smartphone network.
Oh, see how oily I am. It'll take forever to clean this.
Take it easy, Pan. Your days of endless scrubbing are over. Madame just bought Sunlight dishwashing liquid.
What do you know about a Pan's life?
This advanced formulation has real lemon juice that'll cut through all those stains fast in just one wipe.
Wow, that was fast.
See how easy it is to remove oil in one wipe?
Sunlight dishwashing liquid removes oil stains in just one wipe.
Thank you for staying. The Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development did not receive any special intervention fund in the name of COVID-19 aside budgetary allocation. The Minister, Sadia Umar Farouk, gave the explanation during a budget defense session with the House of Representatives Committee on IDPs. National Assembly correspondent Lamia Ali has details on this and other budget defense meetings of the committee.
We have not received a penny from any organization, either within or outside this country. We operate within the budgetary allocation as appropriated.
The Ministry's 2020 budgetary allocation for COVID-19 intervention, the Minister added, has been utilized, just as he's handed over all donated relief materials to state governments for onward distribution. The documents were presented to the committee for consideration. Also at the House of Representatives was the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs to present the Ministry's budget estimate for 2021.
I see how you can assist to increase a little for us. We are soliciting for additional funding, and this will help us not just to realize Mr. President's mandate to make the people of the region proud.
When the Minister of Police Affairs and Inspector General of Police appeared before the House Committee on Police Affairs for Budget Defense, the committee said it will make additional inputs in the 2021 proposal.
Submit the list of our men who laid their lives in the course of their duty, particularly and most importantly during these answers. Before we tidy up the budget, we will now try to see how to factor in that. 2, we may need the inventory of stations that are burned down by criminals.
Launching Nigeria into the digital economy world is among the priorities of the Ministry of Communications in 2021, said the Minister at the Budget Defense session.
If we provide enough skills for our citizens, we will be producing more of potential employers and entrepreneurs. But when we only focus more on universities, we will be producing potential employees.
Meanwhile, the Minister of Aviation has appeared before the House Committee on Aviation, during which concession of airports, among other issues, were deliberated on. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
And away from the National Assembly now, Acting Chairman of INEC, Ahmad Muazu, has begun the process of having a date for the conduct of the 15 outstanding by-elections in 11 states, earlier scheduled for October 31st, 2020. Mia Ogidi reports on the efforts and other decisions taken by the new man on the seat.
The MC asked all to stand up as the acting chair moves in. Betty screams, "No, sit." Everyone goes laughing. That brief show set the meeting between INEC and political parties on an interesting note, though many joined via Zoom.
To consult with you regarding the pending 15 by-elections in 15 constituencies across 11 states of the Federation.
These elections would have been over by now, if not of the NSAS protest, because they were scheduled for October 31st, 2020, but postponed for security reasons. Even in this meeting, there was a protest again. Two factions of IPAC claimed leadership, but the acting chair steps in promptly.
But for the purpose of this meeting, please let us just proceed.
Orderliness restored. The meeting continues, and the journey to fixing a date for the elections begins. Next was the state of the continuous voter exercise.
Now, on the continuous voter registration, the CVR, the Commission intends to roll out the nationwide program in the first quarter of 2021.
The media, civil society organizations, and security agencies are on the lineup for similar meetings before a date for the elections will be taken. Mayor Ogidi, NTA News.
And outside Nigeria, U.S. President-elect Joe Biden's camp is reportedly considering legal action to force Trump administration to begin transition. Justin Bemui brings us details.
With the transition clock ticking and yet no action from the Trump administration on handing over to the new president-elect, Joe Biden's team is reportedly looking at legal action, among other options, as the General Services Administration, GSA, fails to formally recognize the Democrat election win. The General Services Administration, GSA, normally recognizes a presidential candidate when it becomes clear who has won an election so that a transition of power can begin. That has not yet happened, despite U.S. television and news networks declaring Biden the winner on Saturday after he secured enough electoral votes to secure the presidency. The law does not clearly spell out when the GSA must act, but Biden transition officials say their victory is clear and the delay is not justified, even as Trump refuses to concede defeat. Trump has repeatedly claimed without evidence that there was widespread voting fraud and has filed a raft of lawsuits to challenge the results. Justin Bemui, NTA News.
Now looking at health matters, absence of vaccine has been a major challenge confronting the world in the effort to contain the spread of coronavirus disease that has claimed over 1.2 million lives since December 2019. The good news now is that Pfizer has recorded a major success in the third phase of its vaccine trial. Uche Ugochukwu now takes a look at efforts by health bodies around the world aimed at developing a vaccine.
Quest for vaccine has been prioritized since the outbreak of COVID-19 in Wuhan, China in December 2019, before it spread to other parts of the world. Although developing vaccines normally requires years of testing and additional time to produce in large scale, scientists have been intensifying efforts towards developing COVID-19 vaccine within 12 to 18 months due to the devastating effects of the pandemic. Currently, more than 170 teams of researchers have been on the project of developing a safe and effective vaccine, with more than 170 candidate vaccines now tracked by the World Health Organization.
for a fair distribution and especially access to the poor and those who cannot afford, the most important element will be political commitment.
More than 170 economies are now engaged in discussions to potentially participate in COVAX, and Nigerian government also joined the world in looking for solutions to the COVID-19 problem by constituting a committee made up of scientists to scrutinize claims by different indigenous scientists for cure for the disease. This quest for an effective vaccine against COVID-19 seems to have attained a milestone as drug makers Pfizer and BioNTech announced its vaccine administered on about 43,000 people.
We are expecting that we will launch a phase 3 study pretty soon in July that will involve 30,000 people.
Pfizer says it will be able to supply 50 million doses by the end of 2020 and around 1.3 billion by the end of 2021.
The only pitfall here for us here in Africa and developing countries is that storage for this vaccine, as reported, must be at minus 70 degrees centigrade, which you know is not an easy feat to maintain this cold chain from the point of production to the point of delivery.
There are 10 more vaccines in the final stage of testing, so more results are expected in the coming weeks and months. Uche Ugochukwu, NTA News.
In other news, artisans in Wuse Market and Apple Mechanic Village have begun receiving the one-time 30,000 Naira grant from the federal government under the Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Survival Fund. Benny Adams reports that the monies are being disbursed by the Bank of Industry.
In July, the federal government announced plans to roll out 2.3 trillion naira stimulus package and survival fund for micro, small and medium enterprises to stay afloat amid the economic challenges imposed by the pandemic, an initiative under the National Economic Sustainability Plan. The dance here is in appreciation of a promise being kept.
For the past 2-3 days, a couple of our members has called and said they have begun to receive their alerts. Yes, I don't get alerts.
While Hafiz Abdul Karim has proof of the cash in his account from Bank of Industry, his colleagues are apprehensive as they are yet to receive theirs. A teacher turned poultry farmer, Igwehi Clement, is yet to be captured into the scheme, but he is hopeful nonetheless, as government says, no cause for alarm.
In the entire FCT, for the artisan alone is about 4,500. By the time you add the transport, it is 9,000. So you do not expect to see 1,000 people that have collected in Akpo alone. You do not expect to see 1,000 people that have collected in Wuse alone. So it's just for everybody to understand that for those of them that have registered and have been verified, we can tell you that they will collect their money.
The Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria says for those who do not benefit from this batch of disbursement and have registered businesses should reach out for the Guaranteed Takeoff Scheme coming soon under the Artisan Support Initiative. In Abuja, Benny Adams, NTA News.
And on security, troops of Operation Fireball and Operation Lafia Dole have rescued a woman and 3 children in Mianti Bama local government area of Edo State. A statement by the Acting Director, Defense Media Operations, Brigadier General Bernard Onyuoku, indicates that the victims were liberated during a clearance operation, while 8 terrorists eliminated in different locations in the northeast. Details of the encounter reveals that 5 terrorists met their Waterloo while in combat at Bonigari local government area in Edo State, in addition to a female suicide bomber neutralized before detonating her vest. Brigadier General Onyuoku notes that several arms were recovered from the operations. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari has congratulated the Emir of Ilorin and Chairman of the Kwara State Council of Chiefs, Alhaji Ibrahim Sulu Gambari, on the attainment of Silver Jubilee on the throne of his forefathers. In a special message to the celebrant marking his 25th year in office on Wednesday, November 11, President Buhari described the 11th Fulani Emir of Ilorin as an exemplary leader who had been at the forefront of community service, inspiring his people towards excellence in education and other human endeavors. President Buhari used this opportunity to emphasize the important role played by the nation's great traditional institutions and their custodians as bridge builders and healers in our society. The president urges all Kwarans and the entire citizens of the country to pray for more years and good health for the emir, whose reign has brought growth and tremendous development to his people. Similarly, President Muhammadu Buhari has felicitated with Malam Mamandara on the occasion of his 81st birthday, describing him as a dedicated public servant, consummate administrator, and one of Nigeria's worthiest gentlemen who is widely misunderstood by so many. In a statement, the president appreciates Mamandara's virtues of humility, compassion, and zeal to mentor people close to him, describing him as a thorough public administrator and a veteran of Nigeria's political history. President Buhari advised Nigerians to be just and fair-minded in the assessment of public figures like Mamandara, whose contributions to the development of the country overshadow perceived flaws. The president wished Mamandara more abundant blessings from God and praised Allah to bless him with better health and long life in the service of Nigeria and mankind. Also, President Muhammadu Buhari joins family and friends of former Anambra State Governor Dame Verdi Etiaba in celebrating her 78th birthday, which comes up on 11th of November, saluting her courage for delving into politics and leaving a legacy of being the first and only female governor so far in Nigeria's history. The president believes the former governor, who also served her state as a deputy governor, set the pace for future possibilities for women in the country to start participating fully in politics and governance and taking ownership in driving development that clearly needs more female inclusion. As Dame Etiaba turned 78, the president notes with appreciation her contributions to educational development as a teacher and head teacher in many parts of the country, before retiring and setting up an institution that continues to promote knowledge, discipline, and good character. He prays that the Almighty God will grant the former governor longer life, good health, and wisdom to keep inspiring and mentoring more women into leadership. All right, time to go to Lagos, and Dotun will feed us with stories from the Center of Excellence. Dotun, it's over to you.
Thank you, Ere. The Otedola Bridge is one of the numerous bridges in Lagos designed to solve the challenges of traffic gridlock and intra-city connectivity. But the tragic experiences of road users is causing apprehension and suspicion that the bridge is shrouded in mystery. In scrambling for solution, attention has been shifted to the structural defect. But how true is this? Michael Olale provides answer.
June 28, 2018 was a dark day in Lagos when a tanker loaded with petrol leaked and exploded on the Otedola Bridge. What looked like just one of those accidents claimed 12 lives, while 54 vehicles were razed. This is according to the Federal Road Safety Corps available data. This was the height of the incessant road mishaps periodically experienced on the stretch of the Otedola Bridge, especially by articulated vehicles. The scenario is gradually becoming a nightmare. In the wake of another accident on the 17th of October this year, attention was drawn to the possibility of design defects. Olukoya Oduluga, a tricyclist operating at one of the estates around the axis, has seen it all, and going by his observation, the assumption could be right.
Anytime that the trailer they are coming this way, the way they are coming with full speed, then maybe they have no their brake or anything, something will just happen. They start control it, they cannot control it. That's how the motor will meet the one in the front.
Residents say, regardless of their opinion, the position of experts is important in finding a lasting solution.
The work carried out on the bridge as at that time, 2018, was structurally stable.
Because it is more or less a site that is like work in progress, that they're building and they're repairing and resurfacing. It means that people need to be careful and limit their speed and be watchful about what they are doing on the bridge.
The Federal Road Safety Corps is putting up a more robust strategy as checking the trend. The sector commander appealed to motorists, especially tanker drivers, to comply with road safety code and treat a complicated situation with care in the interest of public safety. In Lagos, Michael Olale, NTA News.
Inadequate market penetration, poor logistics, and supply chain have been identified as setbacks to the LPG revolution in Nigeria. Energy experts said this in Lagos at the official launch of the domestic gas initiative called Flash Gas on the Go. Annie Daniels has details.
The Flash Gas on the Go initiative is to further promote the use of domestic gas in not just Lagos State, but across the African continent. Energy experts here say about 60% of Nigerians still use firewood, 30% use kerosene, while only 5% utilize the available clean energy.
If you can imagine then replacing all of the diesel burning fleet, all the diesel burning trailers and trucks in Lagos with LPG burning fuels, there will be an improvement in the environment.
Flash Gas on the Go is speedy, convenient, reliable, and the company delivers to homes in no time to make life and cooking comfortable for its customers.
The gas composite is quite light. It's rust-proof. It's explosion-proof. It has all the benefits that any consumer would like. And having it on Android, easy application. Your gas gets to you within 30 minutes.
Flash gas, taking safety into consideration, gives us a sort of comfort.
With Flash Gas on the Go, energy experts say Nigerians no longer need to worry about time frame when it comes to refilling their cylinders, and the cylinders have a 25 years warranty. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
And that's it from here. Let's now take another break. Network News continues shortly.
Bros of the next life. Bros of the life of the next life. Una. Arrange your voice, podcast now.
Hola. Shift. Mind yourself. Social distancing, please.
We observe social distance in this house. Maintain your social distance.
Do what you've never done before. Find your first with the best data deals in town. Dial *777#. Glow Unlimited. Harvest time is underway for many crops across the different climate zones in Nigeria. Notwithstanding the slowdown to the global economy caused by the impact of the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic and floods in some areas, farmers in the cotton, rice and maize value chains in the northern and southern parts of the country are optimistic of huge tons of harvest thanks to the interventions of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, through its Anchor Borrowers Program, ABP. A total of 200,000 farmers and 212,000 hectares in the cotton value chain were financed to the tune of 47.2 billion naira. The estimated yield is 424,000 metric tons, with value creation of 76.3 billion naira. In the rice value chain, 348,101 farmers and 399,302 hectares were financed with 86 billion naira. The estimated yield for rice in the 2020 wet season is 1.6 metric tons, with a value of 224 billion naira expected to be created. The sum of 61 billion naira was disbursed to finance 252,742 maize farmers and 281,684 hectares. While 1.1 million metric tons are estimated as yield, a value of 135 billion naira will be created from the harvest. The coming harvest is good news for Nigerian farmers. It is sweet music to the Nigerian consumer with the anticipated stability in food prices. The expected bountiful harvests is a win-win situation as we speed towards the goal of producing what we eat and eating what we produce.
Only stepping stones to bigger things. That's our philosophy at Premium Pension. And so no matter the size of your money, our team of expert fund managers invested wisely and actively to make sure your money is always working as hard as you do. After all, the things we're building today can help shape your future in the long run. And with the right partner by your side, the one thing you're sure to do is soar. Premium Pension. Active today, premium tomorrow.
With total submission to the will of God, the Public Service of the Federal Republic of Nigeria announces the passing on to glory of Babatunde Lawal, Permanent Secretary, Cabinet Affairs Office, Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, and Deputy Secretary to the Federal Executive Council, which sad event occurred on Friday, 6th November 2020, at the age of 56 years. Burial program is as follows. Friday, 13th November 2020, service of songs and evening of tributes, 4 to 6 p.m., International Conference Center, Area 10, Abuja. Saturday, 14th November 2020, funeral service at the National Christian Center behind Central Bank of Nigeria headquarters, Central Business District, Abuja. Time 10 a.m. Interment at Gudu Christian Cemetery, Abuja, immediately after the funeral service. May his gentle soul rest in peace. Dr. Morris Nnamdi Mberi, announcer.
Glad to have you back. The Group Managing Director of NNPC, Malik Kyari, is assuring the public that the corporation has in place a stock of over 2.9 billion litres of petrol to guarantee seamless movement of people, goods and services across the country in a forthcoming Christmas season and beyond. A statement by Dr. Kenny Obituary, Group General Manager, Group Public Affairs Division, NNPC. The GMD dismissed rising insinuation of possible scarcity of petroleum products following ongoing disagreement between the federal government and members of the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association, PENGASSN, over the implementation of the Integrated Payroll and Personnel Information System, IPPIS. The NNPC GMD reiterated that the corporation is determined to make the 2020 end-of-year festivities a zero-fuel queue period, just like the preceding year, noting that critical stakeholders in the petroleum products supply and distribution chain, such as tanker drivers, depot owners and road transport owners, have been mobilized to ensure hitch-free season. It is for the sake of equipping women with the right techniques and methods of engaging leadership roles and making notable impacts evident in national development alongside coping well with their personal, family and professional lives that a 3-day workshop on leadership etiquette for women leaders kicked off in Abuja. Momso Damian Dati reports.
From all over Nigeria, women holding diverse positions of leadership make their way to the Merit House, Abuja.
To share experiences, to exchange ideas, improve on our leadership skills and etiquette.
With women becoming a dominant force in workplaces, political spaces and governance, impacting skills for performing in line with the global best practices are said to be necessary.
As Kamala Harris emerges the first black woman Vice President of the United States since 244 years of U.S. politics. Her emergence is a further affirmation that here in Nigeria, we can.
We need to position ourselves in such a way that when we have opportunities to lead, we'll be leading right. And the only way we can do this right is by having the right etiquette that will project us right and be able to do leadership in our own way right.
National development through enhancing businesses, socio-economic growth and sustainability are the focus here.
That's why we need seminars, workshops like this, because we have to show too that we can.
Are even more qualified academically, more qualified in terms of excellence to actually, govern this nation.
Behavioral culture, public relations, emotional intelligence, and security tips for women are attributes and skills being inculcated into the participants. In Abuja, Momso Damien Dati, NTA News.
Let's have a bit of sports now with Tamara Ibiwe as our guide.
Special Assistant to President Muhammadu Buhari on Niger Delta matters, Senator Ita Enang, has enjoined Nigerians to create time for sports in order to avoid regular visits to the hospital.
If you don't want to be sick, if you want to be physically and mentally alert, you have to create time for sport.
In handball, Edo Dynamos continue their optimal performance at the ongoing 2020 Prudent Energy Handball Premier League with a 30-19 goals win against Desert Queens. Chief of Army Staff Shooters had a slim 31-30 goals victory over Kada Stars. In football, Super Eagles captain Ahmed Musa has promised victory against Leon Stars of Sierra Leone on Friday. Already, the camp of the Eagles is bubbling following arrival of most invited players. Meanwhile, the 2020-2021 season of the Nigeria Professional Football League is set to kick off with 10 fixtures on match day 1, December 6. Adamawa United entertain Kano Pillars in Gombe. Kwara United visit Plateau United in Bauchi. Akwa United welcome Dakada FC in an Ibom derby in Uyo. In a related development, Kano Pillars begin their 2020-2021 CAF Confederation Cup preliminary round campaign with a game against ASC Giraffe in Senegal, while their Nigerian counterpart, Rivers United, visit Futuro Kings in Equatorial Guinea. The first legs are slated for November 27 to 29, with the second legs billed for December 4 to 6. Tamara Ebiwe, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed heartfelt condolences to the family, friends and entire people of Palestine over the demise of Artisan statesman and peace negotiator Seb Erekat. Erekat, a former Secretary General of the Palestine Liberation Organization, was also a lawmaker from Jericho in the occupied West Bank and senior advisor to the Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas and his predecessor in office, Yasser Arafat. The president noted in a tribute that Erekat was one of the radical Palestinian leaders whose wise counsel led to the recognition of the legitimacy of the State of Israel as pathway to a two-state solution, by which an independent Palestine would be created to exist side by side with Israel. The fight against rape continues. Be a part of it. That's Network News tonight. Good night.
NTA, you can't beat the reach.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you. In your living room, office, and everywhere, anywhere. We provide the company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs, and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV channel 251, GoTV channel 91, Freeview channel 264, or live streaming via www.visiontv.co.uk. Application for iOS or Android. Intelsat 901/332.5 degrees east. You can also see us on Facebook and YouTube for quality content on the go. NTA International, Africa's window to the world.
This is the network service of the NTA.
The counsel of our fathers.
My advice to these young people is please do not take us back to those harrowing days. You probably do not know what it is.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
That social media is not good or bad, and that it is you who is using it that is either good or bad. Bad social media users spread rumors and fake news without verification. But good social media users stop, verify the information, and reflect before sharing it. Now, are you a good social media user? Stop the spread of fake news. Verify the authenticity of your source for a better Nigeria.
This message is from the National Orientation Agency.
My name is Nando Jamda
Muhammad.
Stevita
Hussein Musa. Roduna Joel Finji. Said Musa John.
I'm a carpenter. I've been doing this for more than 8 years now.
And I said that plantain. Nakai Kimami Shekara Uku.
I've been selling my tomatoes for about 10 years now, and I do it for a better Nigeria.
And I do it for a better Nigeria.
And you can see how we're doing our small little work to make Nigeria great.
As you can see, I'm a technician and I'm doing it to help myself and to help my generation.
Business.
This message is from the National Orientation Agency.
Dialogue, empathy, love, and unity. These are vital components of nation building.
For all to be well, we appeal that we should refrain from volatile, provocative, inciting messages and language.
Let's build and not destroy.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous. Whether you do it for fun or for political gains, real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA.
From federal government disbanding the special anti-robbery squad of the Nigeria police force accused of gross violation of human rights, one of the greatest points scored by the End SARS protesters is the federal government's directive for all states to constitute judicial panel of inquiry to look into allegations of human rights abuses by SARS and other units of the police force. As the panels commence sitting across the country, Nigerians watch with keen interest, hoping for the best outcomes that will help restore citizens' confidence and trust in the police. Welcome to this edition of Dateline 360, with focus on the judicial panels of inquiry hearings around the country. My name is Omotola Omojola. Thanks for tuning in. Let's begin from the Federal Capital Territory, where Amarachuku Menka reports that the Independent Investigative Panel has so far received more than 150 complaints of human rights violations against SARS and other units of the Nigeria Police Force across the FCT and the 6 geopolitical zones.
Though having a myriad of cases from across the country, hearing on the unfortunate shooting of Angela Iguatu opened the panel in the FCT.
On the 3rd of July 2018, that was a date to have passed out apparently from NYSC at 10 a.m. because she works what they do at outsources. It's a customer service international organization, so she goes to work at 1 p.m. and closes at 11 American time. So she sent me a message at 10 to say she's almost done from work, but she was going to go out from work to go and have drinks with her friends and colleagues.
A young lady in her 20s, Angela, was returning from a sent-for date with her friends. A night before her NYC passing out parade, unknown to her, it was indeed a farewell from the world and all she loved, as her life was cut short by the bullet of one that should have protected her.
Toby said on their way from Steady Plaza, they passed that there's a bridge after Steady Plaza. Immediately, they had a loud sound. So he thought it was his tires. And then he looked at his mirrors and the tire was okay. So immediately, my sister was at the back and Arafat is in front. So he said my sister tapped him slowly and was doing like this, like she was gasping for air. So he was like, what's wrong with you, And then she was like, she doesn't like, so he turned and then saw her holding, because she was shot under her breast. So he saw her, holding her, and then he saw, the car, so he had on the light in the car, and then he saw blood all over her clothes. So that's how he knew that it was a gunshot. So he asked Arafat immediately, where's the nearest husband? They said it was Gariki. So on their way there, there's always a police checkpoint. So the ones I saw at the hospital, they were the ones that accosted them on their way and stopping them, and they didn't want to stop, of course, because it was an emergency. So they drove, and those ones trailed them. So when they got there and saw that it was a gunshot, it was that woman, God bless her, that actually identified the person that shot my sister, because she was like, if it's immediately after Steady Plaza, it has to be Inspector Benjamin Peters.
If the description by the sister and previous testimonies at the Senate hearing on this matter 2 years ago are anything to go by, then Angela was shot around this bridge after a celebration with her friends. The sad story of Angela Iguatu, among others, ignited the End SARS protest, which necessitated the setting up of the Independent Investigative Panel on SARS and other tactical units of the government.
The purpose is to create awareness and consciousness among police officers that while conducting their official duties, there will be a day of reckoning. Therefore, there will be the need for them to operate within their rules of engagement, operational and constitutional guidelines.
I can assure you that we have a successful outcome of this exercise is not beyond the realm of possibility.
A Herculean task that it appears that could result in bringing up some cold cases. Citizens are excited about this move and look forward to the process.
Government has taken the foremost step
which we count good.
It should be free, it should be fair, it should be very credible, it should be very, very transparent.
The panel has a period of 6 months to submit its report and make recommendations to the government for implementation. Omeka Amrachuku for Dateline 360.
The case of late Angela Igwetu was heard by an investigative committee of the Senate in 2018. Let's hope that her family gets justice this time around. As noted earlier, many states have commenced hearing on allegations of police brutality. Agatha Eware Ojo from Benin has another tale of unsavory experiences of citizens in the hands of the defunct SARS squad, head at the Edo State Judicial Panel of Inquiry, where she says Nigerians are following activities of the panel closely and also looking forward to how the outcome will shape public policy when the panel's job is complete.
I want justice.
Mr. Harrison Edo is the first to appear before the panel. He is from Benue State but lives in Lagos. He is at the panel seeking justice for his son, Isaac Baba Edo, a 23-year-old student of Usman Danfodio University, Sokoto. Mr. Edo says he has not seen his son since 2011 when he was arrested in Auchi by officers of the Edo State Police Command.
I got a strange call, so I took available flight, went straight to the police station, and I met my son with wounded leg in the cell. The officer in the station said, so no, that if I will implicate them that I should excuse, I can come tomorrow and meet the whom that is concerned. Then I repeated, I came by 7, I did not see my son again. It was when I went to court, the first hearing they denied my son is not in their custody. Somebody advised me that they can't deny. That is the corporal who told me first that they paraded and I should find way to go to Channel. I saw my son lying, descend the way I saw him in the cell, in leg, all in part were with blood. I said, okay. After proving the CD, because the first time they denied, when the CD came, they accepted. Then they agreed that it is when they pick him to go for other investigation at Aoshi, armed robber attacked him and killed only him. It did not affect the police, it did not affect driver, it's only him. Okay, where is the body? Up to date, that is what we are dragging out.
He wants the panel to find out what actually happened to his son. If he was killed, was it in accordance with the law? He also wants appropriate compensation and sanctions for officers involved in the case. Sunday Akpan is the second to appear before the panel. He is suffering from partial loss of hearing.
18th day of December 2019, his wife reported him at the said police station that a fridge and a store apartment that he bought and rented for his wife respectively, that he sold it to solve a financial predicament. My client had to ask a Kopagudele, say, what did I do that you want to detain me? He started slapping him on both sides of his ear in an activity that lasted for nearly 30 minutes. As I'm talking to you now, he cannot hear clearly. I have to get close to his ear, shout, before he can hear me. The medical report that was issued confirmed the awful medical condition of his ears. In one of our visits to the state command, the Edo State Police Command, he was told that the said Corporal Godele died in the line of duty and that the command will get back to him. See, this moment, they have not gotten back to him.
The two cases were adjourned to November 19 and 11th, respectively, for defense.
For some Nigerians, the task ahead is huge, but they want the panel to deliver on its mandate and they want outcomes implemented.
We must sue for implementation of the reports at the end of the day. It's not just hearing from persons, because to this is not the first panel we have seen.
It's more or less like a reconciliation panel. It's meant for people to come out, come and ventilate their anger, their emotion, their disappointment with the police and with SARS, rather than destroying things on the street.
For chairman of the panel, Justice Ada Ehigiamusoe, the panel will be just to all parties.
We employ every person in Edo State to remain calm. If we are to do justice, the respondents, that's the person complaining about, must be traceable and then the evidence you are submitting must be cogent. You submit your phone numbers, your contact address. All must be stated in your petition. But apart from written petitions, we entertain oral petitions as well. You can walk in.
Weeks into the November 29 deadline for submission of petitions, 28 petitions are before the panel as at Friday, the 5th of November. For Deadline 360, Agatha Egwarioju.
Now from Edo, we move to Plateau State, where we observe that enthusiasm for justice to be served precedes the panel sitting, demonstrating the watchdog job she has taken up. Ijeoma Ozemena got talking with some victims who have submitted their petitions to the panel, and she reports that the victims look forward to a fair and thorough investigation for a desired justice, hoping that implementation of the recommendation will serve as deterrent to other agencies for posterity.
The NSAS agitation by youths across the nation gave rise to setting up judicial panel of inquiry in various states to ascertain level of brutality and extrajudicial killings by the defunct Special Anti-Robbery Squad. To this end, the Plateau State Judicial Panel of Inquiry was inaugurated in Jos to receive and investigate complaints for 2 weeks and will commence sitting on Monday, 16th November 2020. While the panel gears up to commence sitting, 2 of the victims have forwarded their complaints through the Nigerian Bar Association, NBA, hoping to get justice at the end of the day.
I came to Jos a day to Salah, 2015, September 25, 2015. I just wanted to drop my friend in the Al-Muha filling station. So by the time we parked the car, we saw one policeman and a soldier stand by one man that they are selling orange by Al-Muha filling station. So when we parked, we just saw him there. He was abusing us, say, Bro Banka from that place. I was at the back of the bike. I just turned and looked him. I just turned my head. Then the soldier man came and met the driver. He told him that, don't park here. Go to the gate of the filling station. Park and drop the person there. So as soon as we drop the guy, we take the vehicle going back to the town. When we zoom going, put the reverse, the policeman came out from that man that is selling orange. He now hit the driver straight with the gun. I am sitting at the back of the driver. I now see in my mind, how can you be policeman, hit somebody directly to the nozzle? I know the policeman used to hit somebody for the under, but I saw that one. I now came down and asked him, what happened? Before I shot down, the man shot me. I don't even know. Is the driver that is asking me, is the policeman shot you? I now put my hand here. When I put the hand here, I saw blood.
The whole sad incident happened on the 22nd of February 2018. Henry Anthony Jr. Dokotri left home that fateful morning for Barkiladi local government to collect indigent form. At about 7 o'clock, we are all home when somebody, a young chap, ran to the house here and said, Baba, Junior has been shot by the SARS people. I said, all right, let's go to the SARS office. The youth followed me from here. We went to trek down to the SARS office, and they wouldn't allow us entry. They stopped us by the gate there and asked us to explain ourselves. I did, and they said to me that they didn't have any information as to whether their patrol team had any incident with anybody. And that was not true, because at the time I got there, they had gone to the station with him because he was shot in their custody in the car.
The Nigerian Bar Association, which has a corporate social responsibility of representing these victims, say all must take responsibility for their actions and inactions.
I have a reservation. They said it's 6 months, and I see from why should it take 6 months? In legal parlance, we say that justice delayed is justice denied.
The police descending into the arena of civil conflict. The police has no business in the arena of civil conflict. It's meant for individuals, and the court as an arbiter.
Some of the spectrum of cases so far collected ranges from abuse of fundamental human rights of citizens by the police and other agencies of the government, unlawful detention of people up to 6 months without trial, and using the police as an instrument of debt collection, which is against the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Citizens of the state are expecting the state government to act on the recommendations of the panel and set necessary machinery in motion to prosecute defaulters. For Deadline 360, Ijoma Ozemina, NTA News.
And just like in other parts of the country, victims of police brutality and other extrajudicial killings have continued to appear before the Imo State Commission of Inquiry into Police Brutality and Other Human Rights Abuses in Owerri, the Imo State capital. Kingsley Ononiwu has details from the first set of hearing in the state.
My client, late Osita Dura Uze, was brutally murdered by a police officer by name Inspector Kelechi Chikwem on the 1st of December 2019. What happened that day was that he came in company of his 2 brothers to withdraw money inside the ATM bank at Omaka, Imo State. While they were there on that queue, somebody jumped the queue. So there was a little misunderstanding between those who were on the queue. They said, this person, you must stay until it gets to your turn. Then the security men couldn't control it, so they brought in the police people who shared the same things with Omaka police station. 3 police officers were being invited to settle the dispute between those who came to withdraw money from the ATM. Then along the line, instead of the police to do what they were asked to do, this particular Inspector Kelechi Chikwem now pounced on this my late client, which is Osita Dura Uze. After beating him up, he shot him first at the leg. Then the young man was on the ground, gasping for air and for aid. He came close to him the second time and told him, I will kill you here and nothing will happen. He fired the last one, the killing shots.
26th day of August 2016, they came and arrested me in my house by 7 o'clock, asking me, am I a card dealer? I said, yes, I'm a card dealer. They say that they want to see that I will prove it. I showed them my ID card, everything, my card dealer license, everything. I showed everything. They said, do I know one guy standing beside me here, a mechanic? I said, yes. He's a mechanic. He used to bring customers to me. They asked me a receipt he gave to me. I brought the receipt. It was photocopied. They said I should bring original. I brought the original. They told me they came from Abuja. But all of a sudden, I saw myself as on 9. They tore my trousers and my shirts.
So far, cases before the panel range from extrajudicial killings, illegal arrests, extortion, and illegal seizure of property.
Then we intend to unravel what transpired between the police and the suspects. In the same vein, it is also our intention to find out the cause of the ill will between the officers of the law and citizens of the country.
Going by the objective of the Commission of Inquiry, which is to ensure justice for victims of police brutality and the magnitude of violence that threatened the NSAS protests, residents of Owerri say they are following the proceedings with keen interest.
That's a good one by the federal government to the states to, inaugurate this Commission of Inquiries. I think it will go a long way in making sure that the police is checked, to go a long way to making sure that people are not abused. The
setting up of the Commission of Inquiry is a well-thought-out idea and could not have come at a better time than now.
Expect a sound and painstaking report from the commission because of the caliber of people that are involved. The youths are involved, from what I see and hear. The police is involved. The Human Rights Commission, they are all involved. So it's going to be a down-to-earth and realistic report, the way I look at it.
Isaac Oguzie is the secretary of the Commission of Inquiry. He assures that members have all that it takes to deliver on their mandate, even as he describes the task ahead of them as challenging.
There are challenges. As you can see, the petitions are trickling in. People are afraid. We are trying to build confidence in people to come out, trying to tell them nothing will happen to them, that their confidentiality is protected by the commission. We've been on radio stations trying to build the confidence of the people to come out.
A total of 11 petitions have so far been submitted to the commission, while more are still being expected.
This edition of Deadline 360 will be incomplete without hearing from the Lagos State panel for obvious reasons. For the panel in Lagos, an additional task is on its table, and that is getting the facts about the Lekki Toll Gate shooting. Jennifer Igwe tells us how the panel is faring thus far.
Police is your friend is a slogan good, hardworking, and selfless officers have lived up to for years in Nigeria. However, like the saying, one bad apple spoils the others, alleged misconducts and human rights violations by some officers have tainted the image of the police, making the slogan, police is your friend, a mere cliche to some Nigerians, particularly the youths. The SAR relationship resulted in an outburst and peaceful demonstrations with the hashtag #EndSARS. Showing its care, the federal government promptly disbanded the Federal Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS, and panel of inquiries on restitution for victims of SARS and other related abuses were set up in states across the nation. Unfortunately, the peaceful protests turned awry, leading to loss of lives, widespread violence, destruction, and looting, almost like a war zone. And although normalcy is gradually returning in most states, with many wanting to forget the horrors of the mayhem, those who for years have tales of woe, no thanks to alleged unethical behaviors and breaches of human rights by some personnel of the police, do not want their travails to be forgotten, but are hopeful of justice and compensations. This is evident by the more than 84 petitions that have been so far submitted, for instance, at the Lagos State panel of inquiry, with the likelihood of more coming in. 34-year-old Ndukwe Ekekwe is one of the petitioners. In his testimony, he narrated how he was unlawfully arrested, tortured, stabbed severally, and his 3 shops vandalized and looted. In an emotion-laden voice, he described how the officers pushed him down a 2-story building, leaving him with spinal injuries. Ndukwe said after the harrowing experience, the police abandoned him at the hospital.
They just keep me now. From there, my mom traced me. Come carry me go to Igbobi. They reject me before they transfer me go to Lutz.
After a series of treatments and surgery, Ndukwe is now in a wheelchair and yet to recover from his ordeal.
The person where they care for me, now me I come they care for him. That's bomb where I don't wash when it is small. Now I come they wash now. Now me they fight food. Now me be football team.
Ndukwe insists that he still has no clue and has not been told why he was arrested. Ndukwe's story is just one out of several others. Then the Lekki Toll Gate shooting is another case for the panel to unravel. Many Lagosians say they are hopeful the panel would come up with a favorable outcome that will bring about speedy redressal to many aggrieved Nigerians. In Lagos, Jennifer Igwe reporting for Deadline 360.
And that's the program for this week. We hope to bring you another engaging edition next week. My name is Omotola Omojola. Thanks for your time.
NTA, you can't beat the rich.
Issues in the sports sector remain one of the most debated among Nigerians due to the passion, followership, government involvement, impact on Nigeria's external image and our national life in the sports parliament. The NTA offers Nigerians deep views on issues with experts in the sports sector, offering in-depth analysis, hindsight, insight, and foresight.
Organized private sector in Nigeria comprising Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN, Nigeria Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, Nigeria Employers Consultative Association, NECA, had in October cried aloud about looting, burning of property and destruction of infrastructure across the country by the hijacked NSAS protest in many states of Nigeria. This is besides death toll of over 100 people since then and about 40 police officers left dead in the line of duty. Statistics collated between October 11th to October 27th indicates also many police stations were burnt, firearms stolen, including AK-47 rifles, among others. 71 public warehouses, many privately owned stores, business outfits were either vandalized or burnt. The Inspector General of Police gave a temporary statistics of over 205 critical national security assets, corporate facilities, private property were either attacked, vandalized, and in so many cases burnt. There is no doubt about the huge toll of the NSAS protest on the economy. Already undergoing serious bleeding from COVID-19, neither can we quantify the negative impact on foreign direct investment, among others. Tonight on the program, we shall be beaming our searchlight on NSAS protest, cost to the economy, the road to recovery, and matters arising. But first, this background report put together by Moplank Dakok.
Started as peaceful protests across the country in early October, was hijacked by thugs and hoodlums and turned into massive looting and arson of government and private properties, and the losses are still being counted. Economic watchers say the lootings and destruction will have implications on the nation's economic roadmap, including consequences on fiscal planning.
If you look at the budget, of course, there couldn't have been any provision for such. So the government, for the National Assembly, maybe there has to be some environment. They have to try to
find a way to legislate so that additional funds can be provided in terms of extra budgeting.
The Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry estimates that 700 billion naira was lost in the first 12 days of the NSAS protest, and many economic experts say the figure is just the tip of the iceberg. It will take billions of naira to rebuild institutions and businesses, and another millions of naira to revamp and equip police stations vandalized nationwide, among others. Many private companies and organizations that were attacked are now forced to shut down, rendering workers jobless.
So the government needs to come to their aid, in terms of, summing up various losses if they can be determined, for the people that lost, whose vehicles were burnt at the car stand, people whose warehouses were looted, people whose shops were looted.
Recently, the International Monetary Fund, in its 2020 Sub-Saharan Africa Regional Economic Outlook, said that the impact of activities following the NSAS protests will affect growth projection for Nigeria, depending on how they evolve.
We expect economic activity for Sub-Saharan Africa to contract by 3% this year. No country has remained untouched by the crisis.
Despite the huge losses and wastages following the protest, Nigerians are still hopeful that the impact will not cripple an already struggling economy occasioned by COVID-19 and low global oil demand. In Abuja, Muplang Dakok, NTA News.
Agrarian report sets the tone for the program tonight. It's Tuesday Live. At some point, our lines will be open. If we're true to you, please turn down the volume of your television set in making your contributions and go straight to the point. You can also be part of the conversation tonight through our Twitter handle at Tuesday Live NTA. Please, in sending your tweets and also making your calls, make your language very polite. Don't use abusive language, please. Our focus tonight again is NSAS protest, the cost to the economy. I'm being joined tonight by Professor Yushau Ango. Professor Yushau Ango is Professor of Finance and Entrepreneurship and Dean School of Postgraduate Studies, Kaduna State University. Good to have you on Tuesday Live tonight.
It's my pleasure. Good evening.
Also tonight is Ogbonna Okuku. Ogbonna Okuku is an investment expert. Welcome to the program.
All right, thanks for having me.
Also tonight we have a banking and financial expert, Dr. Emma Isong. Dr. Emma Isong, good to see you on the program tonight. Cost to the economy. Let's look at it precisely in a generic term. This whole thing, the nexus of investment laws, protest, and cost to the economy. Let's look at it from a general perspective.
The cost enormous, and the cost is in different shades. We have cost directly as it affects destruction of public property, which has to be replaced with public funds. It also has cost as it affects businesses. Businesses were affected, some were looted, some were burnt, properties were looted. Then there is also a cost that will come in terms of lost opportunities. Investments ordinarily that will have come our way will have been lost. Nobody will want to invest in an economy where things are happening and things like this are happening. Coming at the time it came, that is looking at the fact that we're just coming out of COVID-19 economic issues, because the economy suffered because of lockdown, as evidenced by the results of the second quarter, which shows the GDP having a negative growth of more than 6%, hoping that by September we were likely, because the result is not out yet, But we're expecting that September will also be slightly negative, but it will have reduced from the 6%. That is our own projection. Now, coming with this now, we are not so sure what will happen to the last quarter results. It will have been affected. And as you know, if we have two successive quarters of recession, or rather of negative growth, technically then it means we have a recession. Now, what more if we have three? So certainly what happened can not be said to be unexpected. I mean, having come out of COVID and all the difficulties and challenges as it affects livelihood of everybody. But then this will go now to worsen the situation if care is not taken.
Okay, Okuku, what's your perspective?
Pretty much, if you look at it holistically, it's so clear that there's nowhere in the world where you've had protests like this that the economy of that country will not, be affected. A lot of businesses, will get the heat. Goods and services usually that will move from one point to the other will be disrupted, and some of these goods are perishable goods, like goods coming from the farm that moving to places like Lagos. Usually, all of those things got they all got destroyed. And again, we need to also look at things like people who didn't even know the value. We're already complaining, our country, we're already faced with, the ease of doing business, have had a lot of problems. We're trying to see how we can get that, working properly, and then this kind of thing happens. So there's so much negativity around, what happened, and then the resultant effect of the entire process and the outcome of the entire protest. So, any which way, there's no other way to look at it as, it's all negative.
Okay. At some point, we shall be taking reports across the country, but quickly, we are also being joined via Zoom in Lagos by Ambassador Ayo Olukami. Ambassador Ayo Olukami is the Director General, Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines, and Agriculture, NASIMA. Good to see you on Tuesday Live tonight. From Kaduna, you are coming in from Calabar, Cross River State. Looking at his perspective, what is your own perspective regarding the loss to the economy regarding the NSAS protests?
We are now to be crying over spilled milk. The deed is already done. Some of you have heard across the news. Cross River State, for instance, was the worst hit of this protest, and the several buildings, individual houses were burnt. But I would like to put on record here on national platform that Nigerians had opportunity through this evil win. We now have opportunity to reset our economy, to change our strategy, of course, influence the budget. We have to look at the nitty-gritty of the causes and effects, not just the economic boomerang. Our policy makers will have to use this as a very crucial information in planning. So now you see security, social engineering, economic activities, political activities running pari passu in governmental programs, because as it were, a generation was left behind, which we did not train, which we did not take a look at them closely. And now we are paying a big price, and the economy is suffering. Like in Cross River State, I'm also the chairman of the Cross River State Anti-Tax Agency, looking into the well-being of the poorest of the poor, how we can lighten the burden vis-a-vis the effect of COVID-19 as being planned out by Executive Fiat of His Excellency Professor Senator Benayade. But what I have to say is, not only have we left a generation behind Nigerian policymakers, our politicians, all of us, we are stakeholders in what has happened to our great nation. Certainly it's a loss, but it can be also a zero platform for a reset of our mindset.
Central to this was the NSAS was about police brutality by Nigerians, and looking at the nexus of security and economic growth. What's your assessment, looking at the costs too, to the economy?
Thank you. The economic cost of the NSAS protests that was also hijacked by some miscreants that have led to the destruction of a lot of assets, lives, and other properties. That is going to go a long way, and it's been said that we need again to address this by also singing the song to our youth that, of course, they've made a point, they've been able to speak out, and the authority have heard them. I think what we should do is to try as much as possible to ensure that destruction of this nature shouldn't occur, because if we concentrate and speak out and galvanize our grievances, the government and any other person would want to address as they are addressing. And so it was not in the best interest of Nigerians that infrastructures and some of the assets of this country that are very too dear to the economy has been destroyed. So the economy actually is greatly affected.
Ambassador, within a span of 14 days, the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry pegged the loss to the Nigerian economy at 700 billion, at a breakdown of 10 billion a day. Now, looking at it and where we are, what's your perspective?
I think the figures have been explained in terms of the loss. And I think that is even a conservative estimate in terms of what Lagos State Chambers of Commerce gave. I live in Lagos, and when I saw smokes coming out and not too far away from me, subsequently I went to see at Oyinbo those buses burning. Definitely tears will definitely come out from your eyes. We're talking about trillions in Lagos. And our colleague also from Cross Rivers also has explained to us what exactly happened. So we are talking of trillions in terms of cost to this economy. And now I think what we need to do, because I think one of the things we should do is focus on the road to recovery. What is to be done now? And I think in plain language, I think at the national level, we need what can be referred to as a Marshall Plan. And we should also have something along those lines, even at the state level. And that's why from our perspective in NASIMA, because, even if we come up with these plans, the question of implementation is key. It's the late Mario Cuomo who speaks about you campaign in poetry, but you govern in prose. You campaign in poetry, we govern in prose. We will repair these places, we will do this, we will do that. But the nitty-gritty of it is key, is very important in terms of the impact. And that's why at the NASIMA level, NASIMA is the National Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture. We are all over the country. We have city chambers in Benin, we have in Enugu, we have in Sokoto, we have in Ilesha, we have in all over the place. This, in terms of what is to be done, our recommendation is that government at the national and state level should work closely with the national chambers like NASIMA. And why are we saying this? Because the private sector too will also play a key role in this particular area. Whatever programs you want to implement, either in terms of helping those people who have lost goods, who have lost businesses, or want to even rebuild some of those places, it is very, very necessary to work closely with the chambers movement. which is and the organized private sector as a whole. Because at the end of the day, we should also know that most of these losses were also suffered by MSMEs, medium, small and medium scale enterprise, small and medium scale micro, small and medium scale enterprises. And this is why I think we should take it from this perspective. And to cut a long story short, we're saying, let us go back to the point, but let us have a Marshall Plan in terms of rebuilding our economy at the national level, as well as the state level, to deal with the crises which we are facing. As far as infrastructure is concerned, small businesses owners are concerned, national infrastructure, as well as all other aspects of our nation. The economic sustainability plan which we had was talking about the dealing with the COVID thing. I think we also need something around this area now. But like I said, the key issue is implementation, effective implementation, so that we can have impact on the ground in terms of the road to recovery.
And now, as much as we know this has happened, we're now talking about road to recovery. Now, Professor Ango, the road to recovery. Government has taken certain steps. We know a lot of panel of inquiries are all over the country. The Inspector General of Police has been going around the country. Various platforms have been activated to stem the tide. So, road to recovery.
Well, all the measures that have been taken are in order, all aim at basically correcting or at least responding to the yearnings of the youth that started the protest in the first place. That was the peaceful nature of it before it became what it became. Now, the way to recover partly will be achieved by implementing a lot of those plans, that were there already in the economic sustainability plan of 2.3 trillion, which government said they were going to spend in order to reduce the impact of COVID on the economy. I think now we have to do more, especially given what has happened so far. The best way, in my opinion, is to ensure that we even implement that plan. A lot is happening. We are seeing it. We are seeing the survival fund. We are seeing many other funds that are coming up. It was part of the economic sustainability plan. We are also seeing progress in terms of recruitment of the 1,000 youths per local government, which will come to about 774,000. That will help. So what basically the major pressure is that we have a useful economy. A lot of the population largely is made of youths, and many of them are unemployed or underemployed, as it were. So anything that will be done to ensure the engagement, of this teeming population will help. And one major way, and that was the thrust of the economic sustainability plan, from what I've seen, is ensuring utilization of local inputs in all sense, local raw materials, local labor in all sense, trying to, for government to patronize what is made in the country. By doing that, basically, you are actually getting everybody involved. Part of it even includes utilization of gas, improvement, utilization of gas resources, as alternative to, say, petroleum. And also in terms of cooking gas and all that, there is a lot of things that were packaged in the 2.3 trillion economic sustainability plan. What now needs to be done, having lost so much in terms of assets and all that, perhaps maybe we have to even do more than we have done or we have packaged in the economic sustainability plan, because now we have moved a little bit forward and we have been drawn back by what has happened. So basically, maybe 2.3 trillion may not even do it. Maybe we have to now think of something to inject the more. Now, but we know it's not like we have all the resources. This economy that has all the potential, but it does not have all the resources. So within the ambit of what we have, then we probably have to do more. But the way out is certainly to ensure that we make our economy productive, we make our use, and everybody, involved. We have to get to work, basically. That is what it will take.
Okuku, we have to get to work. As we speak, the Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, Amina Mohammed, is in the country on a tour of duty to countries that are affected by terrorism. And at the State House yesterday, she could not help but to speak on developments in the country. And she made appeal to the youths. And also in Delta State, the Minister of Youth and Sports had a session with youths to realize that, yes, as much as you did this, it is time to return back to status quo so that things will move straight. Let's speak to this set of Nigerians.
In reality, for us to be able to, galvanize and understand what the issues are, we need to dig deep. Dig deep in the sense that we need to understand why would this set of people act the way or behave the way they behave. They behave the way they behave because there's something that they are not seeing. Number one, efficiency. Now, they don't have the patience to wait and understand why things are not working at the pace that they want things to work. Times have changed. Things have changed. So sometimes they don't understand certain things. For example, a young man who comes out of school does not understand why he cannot get a job or she cannot get a steady job, from a country where he or she belongs to. Now, we need to now begin to look at these things, because if there are disruptions, if there are things that have happened, these are people, I call them the Twitter generation. These are people who have seen, the world is now a global village. They can sit in their room and see what's happening in Singapore. They can sit in their room and understand that the efficiency that happened in Singapore happened over a period of time. There were things, deliberate actions taken in Dubai for Dubai to become what it is now. So if we understand that, it puts us, each and every one of us, on that desk where we should start thinking beyond what are the economic sustainability.
Now the understanding is there already.
Yes.
So far. So what we're saying, is it time to listen or not listen?
Now this is where I'm heading to that direction. Now, if these people are there, reconciliation now comes in. This is where I think reconciliation comes in. Now, there's this trust deficit that already exists. If you listen, I listen to each and every one of them that spoke. I mean, the majority of them. When they speak, you hear where they are coming from. So actions have to be taken. They need to see those steps being made to take them out. They have to see that things are changing, to benefit them. Because when situations get to a hopeless state, yes, we have packages, we have things that we're doing, we're bringing out programs as government. We need to also communicate to them more to make them understand. Just like you said, the Minister of Youth was in Delta State. These are things that we should have done earlier to make them see that government, we have programs, 75 billion, this is how you're going to access this billion. If you're having issues, you must create maybe an online platform where if a youth in Damaturu is having an issue right now, he can talk to the Minister of Youth. Then we have to also get the political leaders who are in different spheres to now begin to relate more. Just like the president said, ministers, go and meet your people. They need to have access to these people. They need to know their representatives. They need to know. And then again, the one very critical thing we need to do, every national plan we must have in this nation going forward, we must have the sub-nationals involved. You can't have a national plan without the sub-nationals. I tell you what happens. At the end of the day, each state must know what their role is, their contribution towards that national plan. Because if you draw up a plan and then one state decides that they want to build an airport, and then the national plan thinks that the state needs to, put more effort in doing a dry port, and then the person is building an airport, you have not carried the person along. So I think we should look at our national plan, have the states be part of the national plan so that we can grow as a complete entity, so that we don't grow differently. There are 3 states in the Niger Delta that want to have a deep sea port. Why won't one have a deep sea port and then the rest now have like a railways coming into these deep sea ports? These are the things that come when you're doing a national plan, having the sub-nationals as part of what you're doing. Okay. So there are lots that we have to say, because there's so much that has to happen at the same time. And again, we need to begin to like I said earlier, the trust deficit that already exists. Our people, our leaders, the people who occupy government offices need to reach out to their people. They need to be more accessible to the people. Because the young people, it doesn't take so much to get the young people to understand. Just be there for them, talk to them. Because when they are hopeless, they have no choice but to begin to react. But that does not mean that anybody will support anybody destroying anything. But I'm saying we, the ones who are older, should be able to give direction so that we'll be able to grow this country and be like every other country that is, that is existing in this world.
Okay. Thank you so much. Dr. M.I. Song, quite disturbing is the area of security. The police suffered a lot in this. We had police infrastructure, name it, destroyed. Humongous amounts of money, and lives were also lost. How do we look at it from this perspective? As most of the IG is going around the country to build confidence in the officers. How do we build that confidence and restore hope to ensure that we have, after all, a few days after this incident, Lagosians discovered there were no policemen on the street. They started shouting. So what should be done? Dr. My Song.
So much. I'm happy the way you are connecting the security breakdown with the economic background and social disappointment. One of my colleagues, they talk about trust deficit. Let's go straight to the police issue. Nigerians have been very angry with the rules of engagement, the breach of rules of engagement by our wonderful, gallant police officers, even though some of those policemen had very good intentions. And of course, that goes back to the fact that some of our policemen are operating in very poor conditions, very low morals, not motivated at all. Their salary should not be mentioned here on national TV. And of course, the lack of training and exposure. I'm sorry to say it, our policemen themselves are disappointed. And what I would talk to Nigerians is, instead of you venting your anger on fellow Nigerians who are as disappointed as yourself, it would have been our time for police reform to discuss about the police reform, not just in bogus allowances, but also is police my friend as a Nigerian? Because the level of my country's protection and love for me will generate my level of patriotism. Each citizen is as patriotic as the country is also protective of him. I mean, taking example from other nations. Back to the police again. The policeman on the road, how does he survive? He survives by the little pennies that drop on him. And also the man we send to go do arrest. There's a lot of disappointment. I mean, within the two divides, I mean, we cannot finish talking about the Nigerians' disappointment on the police without also discussing about the policeman's disappointment on the Nigerian. And I tell some Nigerian youths, the policeman you are killing is somebody's father. He also has youths in his house. So if you say you are youth, you want to kill a policeman in uniform, he also has youth. He has children. He's got wife. And he's somebody's father and uncle. I've got relations who are in the police force and the army. And we have to consider these things. Nigeria, see, there's a system failure here. We are beginning to look at each other as strangers. Why should you see the policeman on the street as your enemy? And yet you, policeman, why would you handle a citizen of a Federal Republic of Nigeria like a simple criminal and vagabond? That's where the breakdown is. There's a deep disappointment and hatred, especially in the SARS group of people that have just been disbanded. We need to look at it again, if possible, improve their rules of engagement. Recently, a renowned lawyer had to read out on internet, I mean, what is our right, our human right? I mean, should we stay more than 48 hours in a police cell? Should a Nigerian be jacked out of his bedroom and you start being tortured to get information? Those methods of operations are archaic and they are not good to our system. These are some of the things we should discuss that will help us in reforming the police system. We are encouraging the citizenship, and we, of course, setting the right environment, like one of my colleagues said, for doing business, the easy way of doing business in Nigeria. So that's my take on that. Like in Cross River State, for instance, I've told you that more than 54 assets of government, TINAPA, Basin Authority, we're talking of great international conference center. We bond number youths. There is a disconnect between our generation and the generation of these youths. Why burn down structures that will create and produce jobs for you in the future? I mean, it's like somebody getting annoyed with his wife and break his television, and break his refrigerator, and break his glasses, and burn down his house. I mean, we have to look at the way we can bring back ourselves. One of us talk about reconciliation. I pray that the Holy Scripture says all things work together for good. So I believe this can work for our good as Nigerians. We shouldn't really see this as a very terrible thing. We can come back to the drawing table, to the negotiating table, to the mediating table, and talk to ourselves. What is wrong in evolving a national discussion from what has happened? And maybe that would take us forward.
Well, looking at the IG going around the country, and just yesterday, the AIG in charge of Zone 9, the Edo State axis, appealed to police officers to return back to work. So how do we build back morale in these officers, as much as police suffer so much losses during this time?
Well, it's on the public glare that the Inspector General of Police is going round to assure officers and men of their safety and reminding them of their duty of keeping the peace wherever they are. Remember that they were one of the first groups, they were the groups that the youth were targeting because of the NSAS. And in doing that, they created a lot of fear and apprehension. And not just fear and apprehension within the cycle of the internal security, the policing method, but they also converted that kind of annoyance, that kind of action and outbursts into reality by attacking the police at various points in most of the states. They did not just stop at that, but went also to destroy some police stations. That created fear and apprehension. And these are the police. The police were those that were being accused, and they were the people that were put at the front banner for that protest. And so the police didn't need to use their arms. The police would not want to do more in a negative way by confronting this NSAS youth. And so for the IG going round, that was a good idea. And I could see now that there's a song that the IG is singing, and then the government of the day, particularly the various governors, are assuring them, building up all the structures of the police that have been destroyed, and also paying for the bills of those of them that are in the hospitals, and at the same time making some palliative for those of them they were killed during this SARS and SARS. And so this has encouraged them. So my take is that the police officer and the men must have heard now that they don't have any choice than to go back to their duty point, to dedicate themselves and to work hard, and also to amend. While a lot of the training and a lot of the issues that have cropped up due to a lot of challenges that I know very well, officers and men must go back. They must take policing very serious and internal security very serious. They should go back to their beats and ensure that they give a good piece of the action by ensuring safety of the community, ensuring safety of members of the public, because that is their primary duty. I think so far we're beginning to see police officers at beats. We're beginning to see police officers on patrol. We're beginning to see that the confidence of the police is being built up with the song and the teaching and then the assurance of the Inspector General of Police. And I also think that the police should ensure that every nook and cranny of this country is occupied, while government look into how this could be improved and the assets be replaced, and those of them that got killed in this process, those of them that made that happen will be fished out and processed through the justice system.
Ambassador Olukami, what would you say in all this is your impressions regarding the nexus of economic growth, economic development, and security, still looking within the ambit of policing?
Well, thank you very much for that question. But before I answer that, I want to make a brief reference to something. I'm holding in my hand next generation, my phone. This is a next generation Nigeria report. And I think I need to draw attention to it. Next generation Nigerian report. It was a report which was put together 2010 to address these issues. It looked at Nigeria within the framework of the demographic framework and came to the conclusion that Nigeria's future depends on how we handle our youth, our young people. That report is still very 2010, 10 years ago report. All these issues we are talking about in terms of the youth and things like that are in that report with its recommendation. I want to suggest that in engaging our youth, the relevant authorities should go ahead and also look at that particular report. In NASIMA, what we've done is to create the NASIMA Youth Entrepreneurs, young people who will step into the shoes in the Chambers movement. And through them, we work through a lot of programs in terms of what's to be done. Because like I said, you campaign in poetry, but you govern in prose. Implementation is the key issue. And today we were hearing the announcement that the president has, of course, launched a youth agriculture program. Very good. We have the Agripreneur Initiative. There is the Agripreneur Initiative to bring in young people into the agricultural field. The fact that you have a BSc maybe in English, or a BA in English, or religious studies does not mean that you cannot go into the agri-business. That is what the Agripreneur Initiative is all about. And I sincerely hope that the program which has been launched by President Buhari today, in terms of the youth, will also go to that particular area. We'll look at the Agripreneur Initiative and see how there can be a supplementary action on the two parts in terms of agripreneur, bringing in your people, because the agricultural sector is a key and very important area as far as we are concerned. Then secondly, I also want to say that we're talking about the road to recovery, because that is the key issue. And all stakeholders should work closely together. The question of security dimension of it is been explained. But we must learn lessons from the COVID fund, pandemic fund, which was announced. Because, like I say, I'm talking about a Marshall Plan for implementation in close cooperation with, of course, the private sector. The COVID fund, pandemic fund, 50 billion, which was rolled out by the CBN and others, came in too slow and too little. We are on the ground, we wear the shoes, and let me give you good examples. We had a Chambers movement which was trying to come up with about using 300 cooperatives who are growing pepper, the Nsuka yellow pepper, in Nsuka. And you can imagine if you can impact on the lives of 300 farmers, cooperatives, and they applied for I think about 25. But what did they get? Maybe they received just about 900,000 naira, which is, so those funds came in too little and too slow. In whatever program we are coming up with, we must see how we can have meaningful impact in all those programs. And like we said, we must look at the bottom line. The inequality in our society is too much. It is one of the areas, one of the issues which we should tackle. And we can tackle that by looking at the MSME. And that's why in NASIMA, we're encouraging our members in this particular area that come forward with programs which we have, so that we can work closely with you and also help you to be able to access various facilities. I'll give an example. There's a national collateral registry in which if you want to improve your business operations, you can go to the national collateral registry and seek for funding. How many people know that? These are the kind of programs which we should talk about. And like I said, the whole question of security, the whole question of engaging our youth should have a focus. And that's why I refer to the Next Generation report. I mean, we're not reinventing the wheel. Let us go back and see what some of those reports talked about before we start again to put on a panel that will look at it. I agree, of course, that the various judicial panels that are working is quite important because the question of healing is also very important. And also the issue and question of compensation to those people who have suffered from political brutality. And this evening, I was also watching the wives of the policemen who had suffered, who had lost their husband. I mean, it is heart-rending. It is all of us as Nigerians who are involved. There was what last year, before I end, we were in Rio. International Chambers of Commerce were in Rio. And the focus, the thematic focus was co-prosperity. Co-prosperity. That the Chambers movement now should not just be about businessmen lining their pocket. We should also look at our own environment. How can we impact on people, the ordinary people? Co-prosperity. I think this is one of the focus. This is what we should do as we build in terms of the road from road to recovery. So these are
in assessing the cost to the economy, the NSAS protect the cost to the economy, there's an analogy that says mixed maker reactions and winning confidence of investors on the Nigerian investment climate arising from this. Is it possible that we need to do a lot to bring back those who may have been disturbed, maybe their investments were touched and they want to leave, so that maybe we may not have what we call the capital plunging? So looking at it, the investment climate, I want to leave that to the 12, beginning from you. What can we do speaking to investors? We're talking about foreign direct investment into the country, and with what has happened, it's possible that if Okuku is a foreign investor and his investment was touched, he may want to leave. So what can we do in this direction?
Well, in the example you gave, if it happens to anybody that has an opportunity to leave will leave. Unfortunately,
but it's not that bad.
It's not that bad. Unfortunately, the youths that are bent in their anger, they are at the same time, unfortunately, unknown to them, actually discouraging investors. Now, having said this, there are a lot of initiatives that are taking place. I believe it should continue. If you look at the ease of doing business, as it were, some few years back, Nigerian government has been doing quite a lot, to improve the ease of doing business climate in Nigeria. I think that should continue, as much as possible. Relax and ease the way you can register a company. Even part of the COVID initiative includes, encouraging fast registration of businesses and all those things that are supposed to be done. Whatever we need to do to encourage investment, we have to. Now, interestingly, Nigeria being the most populous country in Africa, is a vast economy that every reasonable investor will be attracted to ordinarily if things are put together. So I think, luckily, most of the loss, is not really, much of it is not to foreigners per se. But all the same, we need to encourage by creating, environments and situations that will encourage every investor to come in. Now, we can also, quite a number of them, that have been insured, for example, would feel it's not as bad as those who have not insured as much. But then, of course, that would be another challenge also to our insurance sector. But I think the country generally is taking quite a number of steps that are trying to ease the means of doing business in the country. So if we continue along that trajectory, I think we're going to get it.
Okay, let's be listened to.
I think let's look at it from an investor's prism. Okay, now I always say this: 4 things motivate an investor into any economy. 1, your market, the population of the nation. Not just population, but the ability for that population to purchase, having the purchasing power to actually buy whatever you're producing. Number 2, the kind of knowledge, the knowledge base of that particular environment. 3, the efficiency in the system, which is always the final denominator. If your environment is efficient, everybody will want to come to your economy to do business. Then number 4, the natural resources that you have, or the assets that people can buy into. Now, looking at these 4 things I've just mentioned, and then taking that denominator can cancel out the other things that you have. And if you notice, I didn't say anything about force majeure. I didn't mention force majeure because a foreign investor is not bothered about those kind of things per se, disruptions like that per se, because like he mentioned, insurance. If I have insurance from either MEGA and multilateral agencies or international insurance companies, if anything happens to my business anywhere I go to do business, that's why you've been wondering why people are still doing business in certain countries, is because they have this kind of insurance. Now, this is where we need to look critically at what the issues are and how we're going to come out of our problems. If you must get your economy to work, efficiency must be number 1. Efficiency in your bureaucracy, how things, when processes start and when they finish, they have to be predictable. If, for example, let me use one very simple illustration. You want to do power in Nigeria today, as we speak today. You must have an interface with at least 7 government agencies. And these are all set up by law. You go to NERC for the license. You must go to NGC for your gas purchase agreement, for them to give you the gas that you need. You must go to TCN to get your evacuation corridor to make sure you can, take out the power that you're generating. You must go to NBET because power is not something you put on the shelf. You must move it out, through. Somebody has to guarantee that, you must go to Ministry of Environment to get an EIA done. So what I'm just trying to say in essence is that these are the kind of things that worry an investor more than telling me that the youth of a nation have started protesting. No, an investor is not worried about the protest. They're more worried about the efficiency in your system.
So are you saying it will never affect investment at all?
No, I'm not saying it will affect, because it's not a war. We're not talking about a war situation. It's just people ventilating or trying to air their views about certain issues. So what I'm trying to say in essence is let's pay more attention in educating our people to an extent where they will know that what you go to school to do is not to acquire certificates. You go to school to learn how to task your brain to become innovative, to create things. Because it starts from our basic education level to where we are, where we will now begin to become creative. So I say this all the time. You're not doing the youth a favor by creating jobs for them. You're actually bringing energy, innovation, creativity into your system when you have the young people being part of what you're doing. Like I said earlier, they're always looking for better ways to get things done by nature. That's how they are by nature. Now, coming to the other issue which the other guest, was talking about, when we're talking about rebuilding some of these things, I actually need to raise this issue. 1, sir, it's actually an opportunity for us, like Pastor Isong said. It's an opportunity for us to bring the people and the police, using the police trust fund that you have. Government, we already have a deficit in our budget, the 2021 budget, that we're looking for funds. We're going to be borrowing money to fund. So you shouldn't burden the budget anymore. Now, this is a time we should reach out to the communities, like what is happening in Anambra State today. The communities are now the one rebuilding the police stations. Now, if the policeman sees that the police station where he is, his office, is being built by the community, I don't think he will have the moral justification to want to molest or treat anybody anyhow. So the police and the people now become one. And then this same thing will replicate, transparently replicate when it comes to their barracks. Let the people now start to contribute to their welfare. If we start contributing to their welfare, they will now also start, doing their job from their heart. And then their training, this is now the area where I think government should focus on, their training, to make sure that they get world-class training. And if they get this world-class training, then you will now also look at VIP protection is an industry that we're not looking at. And if you have issues of security, it's an opportunity also. Every single, the IG should sit down and map out every political officer or whoever it is must have a particular police or attached to the person. The rest, you pay for it. If you start paying for it, then they can have more money to recruit more people and then have more people trained. That's how it's done all over the world. One of our guests said something about inequality. This is how you begin to bridge, and bring equality in your system. Where if you want to get police, there has to be a structure where VIP protection becomes a department in Nigerian police force, where they can now train people who their job, if you want to hire 300, that's your business. Just come and pay. Each policeman will cost you this amount. Then you can take them. If you want to have 300 sirens, that's your business. That means we're earning money from you having those kind of things.
What if there are no safeguards and the one particular person decides to take 500 policemen?
I will train more.
Okay.
I will train more.
Well, if you're just joining us, the focus tonight is on NSAS, aftermath of NSAS cost to the economy. You can be part of the conversation through our Twitter handle at NTA, at Tuesday Live NTA, and also our phone numbers will be displayed on the screen. In sustaining the conversation, we are going to take a couple of reports. When we come back, we shall go to Dr. Emma Song, Joshak, and Ambassador Ayo in Lagos. Let's take the first report coming in from Lagos.
Has an emerging market struggling to return to its performance after suffering from the huge blow caused by COVID-19 pandemic, resulting in the nation's gross domestic product contracting by 6.1% year-on-year in second quarter of 2020. The federal government economic sustainability plan aimed at boosting local production and provide liquidity for macro, small and medium enterprises so as to remain in business, as well as various economic policies initiated to grow the non-oil sector, positively impacted the economy to preventing it from sliding into recession.
So all of these things also have implications for the economy, because we are talking about public funds that we'll have to use to be able to rebuild these things. And these funds have what you call in economics high opportunity cost. Because if you are not going to use it to rebuild, you'll have used it to do something else, which will have been very beneficial to the economy. So those are the levels of losses that we had. Losses at the micro enterprise level, losses at the macroeconomic level, and losses as to the impact on our infrastructure.
While the country is still adjusting to the current reality of the pandemic and cutting down spending on both recurrent and capital expenditure so as to meet up with the expectations of its citizenry, the nation was confronted with the NSAS protest, which was hijacked by some unidentified youths to vandalize and loot property, which has negatively affected the economy.
I think today, with the ongoing looting and damage of warehouses, Nigeria has lost not less than 2 trillion naira. The damage that happened with hoodlums within Lagos State alone, Lagos has lost nothing less than 800 billion naira.
The one-time destruction to both government and private property has resulted in taking some macro, small and medium enterprises out of business, while the big conglomerates are picking up their pieces to return to work.
Let's take a listen to this perspective from Ilorin.
These are still counting their losses.
Once the source of livelihood is tampered with, the impact is far-reaching. Some of them took loans, some of them took cooperative loans, and that's all of their hope. Some people have worked for 30 years, that's all that they gather.
We have more than 800
people, more than girls and boys that worked there. What do you want us to do now?
The damage is massive and it's heartbreaking.
Our working equipment, our store was boggled. Virtually everything in the store we are taking away. If not for the standing building, every other things are gone. We don't even have table nor chair to sit to do our work.
Fans, ceiling fans, standing fans, and some of other things are wheelbarrows, our watering can because of our Federal Ministry of Environment. We're involved in planting of trees and raising seedlings. Some of the things that we use to wet, those seedlings that we raise, everything were carted away, even our files.
The state government, in conjunction with the organized private sector, can propose an insurance cover for the affected victims, an insurance cover for a period of 2 years, give them insurance to cover their business as an assurance that even if we don't pray for it to happen, we have such a repetition, it will be on record that government gave them an insurance for 2 years. The private people, private business entrepreneurs who have rented business there, we need to make sure that these same people are back on their feet. If these same people are not back on their feet, other oncoming investors will not be willing to engage business in that venue again.
Kwara State government has, however, put together an SME recovery fund of 500 million naira to assist all those whose businesses were affected during the looting.
Our next stop is Jos, Plateau State.
Longer news that Nigerian youth last month embarked on a peaceful protest tagged #EndSARS to demand the disbandment of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad SARS unit, as well as other reforms in the Nigerian police. But the news is a tale of woes that followed when hoodlums hijacked the process, leading to mob attacks on citizens, security personnel, killings and vandalization of both public and private places.
You will discover that many of those things were looted. The states have lost a lot of resources that were meant to develop from one point in time to the other. And these losses will be very serious to just build them back all at once.
The massive looting of COVID-19 palliatives took center stage from Lagos to Calabar, Ekiti to Osun, Plateau to Taraba, amongst many other states that witnessed what could be termed as unimaginable and unprecedented looting of both public and private places, with losses counting into billions of naira.
The level of destruction and the carnage is unbelievable and unacceptable. We are still trying to carry out a comprehensive evaluation of the total cost of damage. However, the preliminary report by a team of experts I constituted has estimated the loss to be put at about 75 billion naira for now.
These destructions, no doubt, will have a severe impact on the economy. What then are the implications and the way forward in the rebuilding process?
Apart from the items that were picked, even the structures that were destroyed, I just look at how it will cost government again to rebuild most of those places, and how it will also cost the individuals, depend to even have the structures back.
The hoodlums actually attacked two of our agencies, the Plateau State Water Board and the Plateau State Rural Water Supply and Sanitation Agency.
Quite disturbing there, but we have to move on as a country. Well, Dr. M.I. Song, I understand you're also, besides being a financial expert, you are the chairman of the Cross River State Task Force on Anti-Taxation, if I'm correct to say that. Looking at the pictures, the reports, and the reaction by Nigerians, from a national perspective, coming from a state that was also affected, what advice will you give, or how best can we build back?
Thank you so much. That's a very powerful perspective to handle this issue. And let me give you a story. When I was in secondary school, we lived in a dormitory, and each of us had complaints of losing money, pocket money. And so one day we had a meeting, security meeting, so to say. So we discovered one of those guys was in charge of pilfering. This is what we did. So we now decided when our parents give us pocket money, we hand over to him to keep for us with a promise that we'll give him some little money to survive. From that day, we hadn't lost a kobo in our dormitory, which meant the guy was a thief. So what is the way forward? These hoodlums are supposed to be instrument of labor, instrument of productivity. Bring them into the house. Bring the youths into governance. There is a distance, there is a disconnect between the people and the government, the governed and the governance. Now, back to Cross River State, the purpose of the anti-tax agency was to take away burden. His Excellency the Governor talked about, had dreamt about, of course, had foreseen this kind of situation. So he was taking away the burden, like I said, as a post-COVID-19 palliative, taking away the burden from Cross Riverians, the vendors, taxi drivers, keke napep drivers, market women, taxi drivers. And so the purpose was to reduce the burden of taxation so as to allow the people's level of productivity to surge, and so they can be able to vend for themselves. So I recommend that, number one, the youths, whom we call hoodlums today, can be brought in as a factor of production, because population has its own advantage, even in other countries. I mean, talking about Indonesia, India, Pakistan, even Korea. The Nigeria can use the teeming population of the youths, because as it were now, the youth population is overtaking other sections of the population. And so we must get them busy. As the adage goes, the idle hand is the devil's workshop. Get these guys busy. And then secondly, let's, like one of the guests said, let's create back the trust in governance. Politicians promise so much and they do so little. This has created the vacuum in the democracy. Of course, basically, what is the democracy? Government of the people, by the people, for the people, from the people. But when we take over power and we are sworn in different levels of governance, we have lost the people. And so they just see big cars driving on the street, and they just see mighty mansions rising on the neighborhood, and they have nothing to show as the evidence of democracy. So let the political class also take it as a responsibility, because part of security is to make sure everybody has eaten. And a hungry man is an angry man. Okay, look at the coordinative way this vandalization took place. Was there a meeting somewhere in Jos or in Calabar or in Lagos? I don't think there was any particular meeting, or else the security agents would have gotten a hint. But look at, they are looting the water board, the Ministry of Water Resources in the Jos, and they also looted the Ministry of Water Resources and Water Board in Calabar. Look at the synchronization and the resemblance. Look at the similarities of operations of these youths, and there were no coordination, there were no walkie-talkies, there were no commanders. In fact, there were no leadership. So the boomerang, the after effect, we are reaping what we sowed as a people. We have left these guys on the street. We call them hoodlums, but they could have been working somewhere. They would have turned them to means of production. So getting these people back to production. Another thing I want to say is that government keep announcing big figures, 23 trillion, 2.3 trillion. These youths, they have camera phones, they are on the internet, they are hearing these figures. If at the end of the day, these monies don't trickle down, these announcements, these budgets, these pronunciations, these policies don't trickle down to them, they feel cheated. Another thing I want to say is fighting corruption is important in nipping this thing in the bud. We've got to fight corruption. There are cases of corruption being shown on television, how billions of dollars and hundreds of billions were used as palliatives by some people, and we've not heard about how those people were punished, how the different national arms of National Assembly brought these people to their knees. These youths are watching us daily, announcing huge figures in our budgets and in our policy statements. They are hungry. They want to see themselves being brought in to also be party to the national cake.
Habila Joshak, now most times it is said when you're angry, you hold your reaction in terms of what to say because the tongue is powerful. What would have happened if maybe there was some kind of interface between the security structure and the people build up to this development? Would we have nipped it in the bud before it happened?
That's a very good question. You will agree with me that we've been trying to, the Nigerian police have been trying to launch another platform of methods of policing. A policing that members of the public and the police will build trust. As it is now, a lot of members of the public where policing is taking place, those that police that area do not have a connection. And so officers come up and begin to police an environment the way they think it's best. But the best way to police an environment is to share with members of the public, the people you are policing, asking them what their challenges are and how this solution could be found. And once you do that, you are going towards what we call the community policing. Bringing the people into what you are doing, setting up the goals and objectives of a particular environment, members of the public must partake in it. And if that is done, then the result is going to be a very robust one. Having said that, we've been talking about policing. Nigerians, or the Nigerian police, are found in a lot of foreign missions. It was the police officers in Liberia that brought peace in conjunction with some other military officers, but the internal security was the Nigerian police. The conduct of the first election was the Nigerian police. And so many other countries, we have a lot of, the Nigerian police has a lot of commendation when they are out. But here, there are problems. And the problems are that if we must work with the people and understand their situation and know what exactly are their security challenges through collaboration or collaborating with them. In other words, the police should be able to have a training that is commensurate with the challenges in terms of security in the environment he finds himself. The Nigerian police officers must also be made to have capacity to be able to police, patrol the environment or a bit that is given to them. We do not, the Nigerian police as it is today, does not have a reverse training methods that will put them and raise the bar, because crime is dynamic. And if you use the system and process of training that we've had in the past, it's not going to feed in. The training schools are inadequate, are not equipped. Some of them are those that we got from our foreign masters. And so we have a lot of challenges, and if we must ensure that policing is robust, that the police will effectively patrol Nigerian space in terms of combating crime, like what we do in other countries, then we need to have a rethink. First, to look at the budgetary, the requirements in terms of logistics. We've talked about training, and then the remuneration, the welfare. Seeing police outside is a big pride. Coming in here, I want you to take a look at what is happening. The equipments, the logistics, we keep talking about them. The budgetary is nothing to write home about. We know that the paucity of fund. Release is another big problem. And so if we focus on some of these things, the training, the logistic, increasing the strength and proper training, and then the remuneration, and finding a platform where the policeman in Nigeria and the people he police have agreed as to what the security challenges are in that community. And in doing that, then the confidence of the members of the public that we police will be rest assured, and then there will be synergy, and then there will be results. And so we need to go back to the drawing board to address this. Otherwise, all that we're saying will amount to nothing as serious effort.
Quickly, but our first caller tonight, Abdullah, has been on the line. Hello, Abdullah, you are on to Tuesday Live tonight. He's calling from Abuja. Hello, Abdullah.
The first what I want to say here, I want to use this medium to sympathize with the children, the family of some people that lost their life during the NSAS protest. Actually, I was born 1982. I'm a young person now, getting to 39 years. But I'm not see reason why to join people that go into the street saying that they are protesting against police brutality. Why now? The same way Nigerian people are crying that there is no police on the road, there is no police in the city. Why are we asking the IGP now to deploy police to protect us? Which police are we looking for now? What are you looking from them? True, I'm a youth. You can't deny me to call me because I'm 39 years now. You can't call me I'm old. This is my time, but I never think for a second to support this camp inside. Police are protected. I'm from Plateau State, indigenous of Kanam local government. See the kind of things what government are providing for us. Go to from Kanke to Germany, Bashar. Go see the kind of work where construction and reconstruction of roads that will link Plateau State with Canada State. Go see how youth are working there. Is it not the work creation for Nigeria youth? I don't see anything that we are going to say police brutality, police so this, police are human beings. We are crying for life. We are killing police, burning property.
Thank you, Abdullah.
During police house.
Thank you, Abdullah. That's the most we can take. Abdullah, you've made your point. But quickly, before we take a couple of tweets, let's quickly go to Ambassador Ayo Olukami. Ambassador Ayo Olukami, in all this, something is playing out. What is the insurance culture in Nigeria? Given the perspective of Professor Ango and Okuku, they have talked about the fact that as much as the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry talked about, most likely that foreign investors will go and it will plunge the capital market, all that. They have said that doesn't happen if you have an insurance cover in place. But a lot of persons that you heard the reports are going to loan money, are going to banks to borrow money. If there was an insurance culture and businesses, whether public or private, are insured, will we get to this?
Certainly, the insurance culture in Nigeria is still very, very low. I mean, and that's one of the things which we do in the Chambers of Commerce to encourage our members when they start businesses. Please make sure that your businesses and operations are well insured. It is very, very important. If we have that, we would not be, things would not be as bad as this in terms of what exactly will happen. So we need to, ramp up the culture in terms of encouraging, even at the personal level, in terms of people having insurance. That is very key. But before I go on, I just please permit me to just quickly make a reference to the question of which one of our panelists spoke about in terms of police and policing. I before this assignment, I served in the Nigerian Foreign Service for 35 years. I served 2 times. I served, in the Palm Mission in New York. I served in at the UN in New York. That means the US. I also ended up as High Commissioner of Nigeria in Australia. And I remember that even at the UN, the Nigerian police men and women are always coming top, always winning award in terms of their operations, in terms of what they do. When we had crises with 419 and scamming in Australia, the Queensland police was the one that worked closely with the mission to be able to trace a lot of the 419s that they came to Nigeria and worked closely with Nigerian police. It means that in terms of the federal structure, we need to do something. The structure we have now in terms of police and policing is not working. And that's why I'm glad that there's reference to the community policing in terms of what exactly can happen. We need to face it squarely in terms of the possibility of state policing, or one way or the other, for respective state to be able to be truly in terms of policing and security as far as the country is concerned. That is one aspect I thought I should raise that. Now let me go back again now to the question and issue, because the pictures which we saw in terms of people looting and others is so heartrending, is so terrible, which we say that is an indication of the crisis in terms of the inequality in our society. But apart from that, I had raised up the Next Generation report, Next Generation Nigeria report, 2010. A whole range of things we'll be discussing in this night. Are in those reports with recommendations. And that is why, like I said, in NASIMA, we pick up and started the NASIMA Youth Entrepreneurs so that we can start inculcating in our youth the sense of responsibility that this is your country, this is your future. Please take it from that perspective and work towards that. One of the areas which we also work on, like I said, is the question and issues of agriculture, agripreneur from the word agriculture and entrepreneurship. That forms the word agripreneur, to encourage a large number of our young people. Because agriculture now is not just agriculture, we are talking about agribusiness, and the opportunity is there for many of them. And like I said, just this evening, I saw on NTA, President Buhari also launched an agricultural initiative for young people. There should be a synergy as far as that is concerned in terms of that particular area. And lastly, also, like I said, as the Chambers of Commerce, we are all over the country. Opportunities in Sokoto, we're trying to encourage our people to bring in the youth, to also encourage them as far as entrepreneurship is concerned. Because we must tackle the question and issues of poverty and empowerment in respect of those of our youth, and also their respective opportunities in various areas are there. I served also, like I said, in Australia. Western Australia exports $60 billion of iron ore to China. And you'll be shocked and surprised the large number of people who are in that industry, in that area, including young people, in terms of the entire value chain. Look at Kogi State, brimming with iron ore. State, at the national level, it means that they must wake up to it as well, as far as that is concerned. But to come back to the issue which you raised in terms of insurance, I sincerely hope the respective areas, and also the National Association of Insurance, as well as all other stakeholders, will also draw it up now and let people know that this is the 21st century. You can't be operating a business without insurance. Even in your own house, even in your own car. It's not a question of go and get a license of police, let me go, the third party. No, we must ramp up that culture. It is key and it is very important. And now this is one of the things, because we must learn lesson to this as we plot the road to go back in terms of what we refer to as a new Marshall Plan for impact and the potentials in Nigeria is huge. I serve as DG Nasima. Till tomorrow, people start coming, sending me letters. They want to do virtual meeting, business-to-business meeting. I said, look, we are facing this problem. I said, no, we know that we will get out of it. This is why we want to start. So people are positioning themselves to work to harness the business potentials in Nigeria. But we must first do this on our part. And this is one of the focus we are having as far as the Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture is concerned. We are all over the country and we are ramping up and, of course, working closely with our members to be able to take advantage of what is in their respective areas to tackle the issues before us. Thank you.
I hear we have a caller from Gombe State, Zia. Is Zia still there? Can we hear you? Hello, Zia.
Yes, good day, sir. Good day, sir.
Go straight to your point, please.
Yes, first of all, I'd like to send my sympathy to who lost their family members during the protest, and also on the part of the law enforcement. I would like to thank them and congratulate them for a job well done. For it is not easy while we sleep in the comfort of our bed. They are at the war front or on the street protecting our lives. But what I would like to contribute to the topic of this NSAS is that Nigerians are not looking at the roots of what actually instigated the process. I was watching a video a friend sent to me some days ago through WhatsApp, and the pastor was talking about the root cause is the corruption. I'm a Muslim by faith, but for what that pastor is saying is actually true. The root of this problem is corruption. When you have corruption running in the country without being tackled, that are responsible for it are the same people, and they are not being prosecuted nor punished whenever they practice it. One of the main points that pastor said was that a policeman who is protecting those people is earning not even 20% of the salary of our senators and our governors and our other political office, and yet you ask him to sacrifice his life, his comfort, his sleep to protect us. I don't think that is fair. And also, when they die in the line of duty, their families are not looked after, their children are not looked after. Even the money that the family are supposed to get, sometimes their bosses or their senior rank officers tend to hijack those money for themselves. This is what is happening in the police, this is what is happening in the military and other security forces. The youth, between the youth, I think I would like to say is between youth. We don't know how to vote right. Sometimes we overlook the actual habits of a person or his character. We tend to go for religion, tribalism, and party sake. We do not vote the right people into power. I remember watching the news on channels about 3 years back. They were talking about the constitution in the Federal Republic that say you could not allow anybody who has a case with any security agency or corruption commission to hold a position of power in the state. But they listed 15 senators and representatives, who most of them are ex-governors, with corruption cases with the EFCC. And yet they are...
Oh, it looks we lost that call. Okay. Okay. Zia, just wrap up your point now.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Zia. Ali has made his point there. He hinged more on corruption. But quickly, we have 2 more reports. But before I take that, let me go through an avalanche of tweets that are here. So we'll come back after listening to the reports from Port Harcourt and Benin, Edo State. We'll react to the tweets. The first one here is coming from Babatunde. Babatunde says, poor government policies cost more to the economy. Baba Yaza says, the government and the media, indeed our institutions, are underestimating digital status we are in today. Is beyond talk the talk, considering abuses, consider accolades, right to a leader, all of a sudden to be replied, noted, than action. Such reply is abuse which may trigger fake news. At Divines says, awesome discussions. I disagree with regulations, but stronger agree to government relating to people and a rapid response team to counter fake news. When it shows up, the government needs to invest in these new technologies. It can be overemphasized. Young Didi says, good evening, sirs. In my own suggestion, I think that the only way fake news can be eradicated is taking the media to the streets. We'll react to these tweets quickly after this report from Port Harcourt and Benin, but beginning with the one from Port Harcourt.
As the country country counts its losses from the NSAS protest, which created a cloud of uncertainty around the nation's economy. Analysts say the results will continue to be felt for a long time, leaving the country with the challenge of rebuilding. The protest, no doubt, resulted in the loss of revenues, means of livelihood, and property worth millions of naira.
People were out of their businesses. People got afraid and shut their stores, shut their businesses, and it had a negative impact on the economy.
You go to market recently, everything has skyrocketed. Rice you bought for a particular amount of money has increased like in 40%. So what are we saying? Are we going to change the economy or grow the economy?
Cost of living, cost of commodity, transportation, everywhere has been affected.
The losses, which were accompanied by several looting and vandalism, including 4 police formations in Oyibo Council area, oil mill axis of Aba Road, Ikoku and Maitri, created negative impact, which is ravaging the state's economy.
Number of policemen killed, 3. Number of stations bombed, 3. All under Oyibo area command.
We are trying to see how we can help ourselves, and now the properties are being destroyed. So before the government would want to come into it, I think it's also going to take much money.
The NSAS protest, which keen observers said is not just against police brutality, but also unemployment and poverty. They harped on the need for government to expedite actions to raise revenues through the area of non-oil resources to pave the way for job creation and improve economic potential.
Let's take a listen to the one from Benin.
One outstanding handicap of the NSAS protest was the destruction of government and private property. This growing convention of looting has no doubt left the likes of Vincent Ikejuba and other victims whose warehouses were looted in a pitiable situation.
2 Nuna 2. I bought. They used the vehicle to convey Dick out of my warehouse. Discovered the vehicle at Ikonilo here with burnt body.
I'm owing the bank. I'm owing the company that supply me these goods. It's when they supply me these goods, I sell and return their money. I don't know what to do. Let them help me.
While the police had 5 of its stations in Benin City destroyed and valuable items carted away, the office of the NDLA, the state government warehouses, and that of the customs were also not spared. The destruction has affected sundry trades and industries. Many are now stranded, consumed by the trouble of forging a restoration.
Some of the losses are drugs that were in fact expired, some were dangerous, some were drugs that have been seized, some were drugs that were not to be used. And if they have entered a community, then that will have very negative effects.
There are settled provisions in our laws, sufficient provisions that guide against looting. Stealing itself, it's a kind of looting is a kind of stealing. And then for some of these persons, they went further to damage in the course of looting. So malicious damage is also provided for in our criminal code.
Normalcy has since returned and businesses have fully resumed, but citizens' apprehension is high. The imposition of a curfew by the state government, analysts say, will check activities of criminals and help to soothe sore nerves.
Well, those are reports from Port Harcourt and Benin, Edo State. Well, let's take this caller before we sustain this conversation. Mohammed is on to Tuesday Live.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Good.
Okay. We are just deceiving ourselves in this country because all the times when things happen, it reveals the true identity of what's happening in our country. It happens during the COVID-19. It shows how weak the healthcare system of the country is. Now, the issue of the NSAS protesters, the looting of the palliatives. The question is this: why is the palliatives kept in the warehouses, while those palliatives are supposed to be distributed to the poor people that were suffering during lockdown, and the government sent those palliatives as a relief, why the governors kept the palliatives in the warehouses? This is the question mark. Would they keep the palliatives so that they can use them during elections, so that they can change the facts and put their political party symbol and distribute it to the people? Now the people located these palliatives, and unfortunately they looted the palliatives and they also looted other people's properties. We are just deceiving ourselves in this country. I cannot join a protest because I struggled to study as a student in this country. Anybody who have knowledge will not join a protest that will lead to destruction of other people's properties. But what about the people that don't have the opportunity to pursue their studies? Now, look at what is happening with regard to the ongoing strike of the ASU. About 7 to 8 months, ASU is on strike. What is the government doing? The students are at home, and this thing happened. These are the things that are encouraging people to be desperate. During this entrance protest, if there is a school, I don't think many people will have joined. And students are still at home because our leaders don't care. Why? Because most of their children are not studying here. Even our governors, even the president and other people, most of their children do not study here in Nigeria. Only the poor people study here. So we are just deceiving ourselves in this country. And we hope for a change in the future. But the direction we are going now is very bad, and these are signs that are telling us that the country is not going forward and is not doing the right. So it was very unfortunate, the looting of people, properties, destruction of government properties, killings, all because of a protest. A protest was supposed to be a peaceful one, but it was hijacked by some people, and all these unfortunate things happen. We hope that this kind of a thing will not happen. If the government is serious, these things need to be tackled. The issue of unemployment, highest level of unemployment. The government cannot employ everybody. But there are so many things that the government should do that will allow other people to be investing themselves. Look at Nigeria, a country like Nigeria. We don't have electricity up to now. We don't have, access to electricity. So these are the things that is, taking the country back. So that's why there is the highest level of unemployment. And,
thank you so much, Mohammed. That's the much we can take from you. You have made your point. Thank you, Mohammed. Well, quickly, so that we don't run out of time, let's go to Lagos and allow Ambassador Ayo react to the issue of technology and give us his last thought before we come back to Abuja. Ambassador Ayo.
Well, thank you very much, for coming back to me. Certainly, Tuesday Night Live, 1.5 hours, we cannot be able to exhaust all the issues. But what we are focused on tonight, the NSAS protest, the cost to the economy, I think we've all seen it. And then, of course, the road, the path to recovery. And that's why in our respective areas, each and every one, we're all stakeholders. We must work to see what we can do practically. And I made reference to what we're doing in the Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines, and Agriculture, through our respective chambers all over the country, the nooks and crannies, even in some of the smallest villages. We're using it as a platform to tackle key issues of poverty and also to raise the new generation of people who can go into entrepreneurship. Because one of our speakers now made reference to the fact that government cannot employ everybody. It is now clear. I was in a generation that when they came to the University of Ife to recruit me, and I served in the foreign army, and I had about 3-4 jobs before I left. So in terms of soaking up unemployment, I'm giving the youth the hope that entrepreneurship is one of the way to go. And I think that is why it is the key. It is very important that we have such issues like this in terms of what just has been what I referred to in terms of agripreneur, because agriculture is one of the key areas. And then we must also not forget the gender dimension too as well, because a lot of our women are also impacted. We can see some of the women who are there who are impacted in terms of these are women who have small little business. During the COVID pandemic and others, we conducted a survey, and we saw that one of the groups that was most impacted were women. They were women, and that's why we're very delighted that 40% of some of the stimulus packages which is coming up is also being given to women. And that's why we are encouraging women-owned businesses and businesses to come forward and take advantage of that. But in closing, as a major stakeholders, especially from the private sector, we want to work closely with all stakeholders. We're ready to work with government and all of that. And also at the subnational level, the states have a lot to do. And that was why we said the respective chambers of commerce in respective states stands ready to work with respective state government and government institutions to be able to make an impact in terms of recovery at the end of the day, back to, of course, what we used to know. In terms of our country remains one of the greatest, of course. In Africa, we play a lot of key role. Of course, even in the world as well, we're the first to be reckoned with all the resources which we have. And I'm an incredible optimist as far as our country is concerned. I think we will continue to work on it and work closely. And I want to thank NTA for the good work you're doing in terms of, because communication impacts on all phases of development. And I think that's what you're doing through the various programs which you have in the Nigerian Television Authority. Thank you very much.
Olukami, Director General, Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture. It was nice having you on Tuesday Live. He joined us via Zoom in Lagos. Thank you so much. Now let's go to Dr. Emma Song. Dr. Emma Song, Nigeria is 60 and still counting, and you say at 60, Nigeria has seen it all. Some will say that is not enough for us to not to have hope against fear. Now, with all this, Nigeria must move on. People will say the indivisibility of Nigeria remains sacrosanct. What word of caution and advice do you have for Nigerians holistically as you take your last word on the program?
So much at 60, we are supposed to be a mature nation, trailblazer in Africa, frontliner, door opener, of course, the giant of Africa. We must be able to harness our diversities to become strength. I've traveled around the world. I've been to about 50 nations in 5 continents. I've come back to Nigeria and believe in Nigeria. There's something about this nation and the multicultural, multi-religion, multi-languages of the people. Of course, you know, in flower, the multicoloredness and multi-differences in the flower is what makes the petals beautiful. So Nigeria is a great nation with good people, but the inability to have the political willpower, the administrative know-how, we just lack that to be able to get the people together on board. We are people of great destination. And of course, I would like to talk about the area of patriotism. Why is it that when we are playing football against Brazil, we don't have religion, we don't have language, but as soon as we come back, we're fighting over those very little minor infinitesimal stuff that divide us. So at 60, let's also stimulate economy, because business of government is not business. Government has no business in business. The purpose of government is supposed to stimulate and create rightful environment, protect lives and properties, and create environment for people to thrive in their businesses. That's the main purpose of government. But so I think if we create that enabling environment, all regions will develop, like one of the speakers said, and every Nigerian will feel proud, because very soon, I don't know what is going to happen. Nigerians are going to be coming back home. But what is that thing that will encourage them and motivate them to come back home? Every Nigerian abroad wants to come back home. I can tell you, I've been there, I've seen people that I've discussed with, and they want to come back home. But do they want to come back to a nation that is restive, a nation you cannot be proud to call your own, a nation that is practicing British form of education, American form of politics, and of course, we have other nations infringing and influencing us day by day in our thinking. We should have a culture core Nigerian. We should have a thinking core Nigerian. Then we'll be able to be proud of ourselves.
A banking and financial expert and also a patron of the Nigerian Union of Journalists. Thanks so much for being on Tuesday Live tonight. So, Joshak Habila, well, all hope is not lost. The way forward. There's a social contract between the Nigerian police and the citizens. Which way forward?
Yes, I would want to say again that the social contract between the government and the citizen is security and welfare. For once, we have come to a point where we do not need to mince words, that the internal security outfit, the Nigerian police as the lead agency, must occupy their place here in Nigeria. The government must take the challenges by every strength and confidence that for once, documents that have already, all these challenges have been properly documented. They are available any day. They should dust that and make sure that the police is properly repositioned. The people's police. Training, equipment, and all other logistics that are required is a must. So that this country for once should be able to restore the confidence in the public of their safety using the Nigerian police. And I think we've gotten to this stage that we must ensure that what we said we should do, the government must have the capacity, the ability, and the commitment to for once take these challenges and solve them so that safety of Nigerians and their properties is guaranteed.
G of the Nigeria Police Force and also a lawyer. It was nice having you on the program tonight. Studio here, let me begin with Okuku. Okuku, the tweets hinged on technology and fake news. Let me take you on technology. One of the tweets is advocating the need for emphasis on technology.
We, as a nation, first things first, I always say this, by primary geography, I was taught that the sun is the one that does the entire work. All the moon does is to position well, and then it reflects and it rules at night. I'm not saying that we're inferior, but what I'm just trying to say in essence is, since we have not gotten to a level where we can have Silicon Valley and all of that, as a nation, we must begin to borrow most important things, like where the world has gone to. The world will not wait for you. Whether you like it or not, the world is moving, and technology is where the world is now. So if it's whatever you want to do when it comes to, you have arguments on whether I need to go into a payment system in the nation, people want to go on strike because of technology, it boils down to the level of education that we have here. If the people who are supposed to be teaching me are running away from being on a payment system which is domiciled through a technology, I wonder what the person has to teach the young people or teach me who want to actually live in that advanced world where the world is today. So what am I trying to say in essence? We need to go back to our education system. There's so much that have gone wrong, starting from the basic education, begin to teach our children how to think analytically from childhood. Then there are things we need to eradicate. They should take religion away from our curriculum as far as this nation is concerned, because there's always this issue when it comes to thinking analytically and then being able to marry religion with those analytical thinking. Some of these children, their mates in China are thinking about how to go to space and all of that, and they are here thinking about how to marry religion with what exists with the new forms of technology. Then again, we need to also begin to get the young people to be part of what you're doing in governance. Because if you don't have them be part of what you're doing in governance, it'll be difficult for you to understand where they are coming from, where they are headed. And it becomes a problem. So whether we like it or not, technology has come to stay, and that is where the world is now. Agriculture is functioning well with technology. As I'm talking to you now, there are countries where you have, technology have changed everything. For example, the herders, farmers clashes that, that used to be a problem in countries like Botswana ended because technology was introduced. Just by adding an RFID chip on every cattle that exists in that country. They have more cattle in Botswana than human beings. Today, as we speak, cattle is a cow leg is sold for 25 pula. 25 pula is about 500 naira. Cow leg, the entire cow leg, the two of them joined together, is sold for that amount. How much is cow leg in Nigeria? Because we still don't know value of some of these things. So technology is the only thing, is one of the most important things that can help us. Using GPS to even do using your tractors in the farm, you need technology. Okay, so technology is the way of.
Okay, Professor Ango.
Yes.
Just like they will say, when you throw a bullet or a bomb in the marketplace, that's the marketplace. The bomb does not know which religion, which political party, which class, which doctrine you believe in. Now, this whole thing happened in the public and private sectors of the nation's economy. And we have touched on so many areas. Moving forward, as much as we had losses, is it enough for us to lose hope?
No, it is not. Actually,
the government is taking so many steps.
Not only
private sector person is taking so many steps.
It's not enough to lose hope. Actually, NSAS, as important as the concept of so-called police brutality is, was actually a symptom of a real problem. A real problem is we have youths, we have a youthful population. We were 45 million or so at independence. At 60, we were 207 million. We are going to be 262 million estimated by 2030, 400 million by 2050. The real problem is we are growing, and because we have discovered oil, we have lost contact with the reality of other things we are supposed to do, to engage ourselves. And then on the one side, we have a political elite, made of elected people who are living flamboyant lifestyles, which these youth who are unemployed are looking out to, or who are looking at. And they are unemployed, they have nothing to do, they are hopeless. They have been trained to believe that when they come out of school, they will just get jobs. So these are the real problems. We have a nation that has capacity in terms of its economy. It can develop its people, it can get its people to work. But unfortunately, we have lost that since about 1970-80, when we discovered the beauty of oil, and we now start to change our lifestyle, everything foreign and all that. Now, those are the problems. So once we need to talk to ourselves, we need to realize we have to live within our means. We have to actually get everybody to work. But then we have to get people to, rely on themselves, to be entrepreneurs, not to rely on government. Everything, when you give an assignment to any student, and say, give recommendation, they will say, government should do this, government should do that, government should do this. The real thing about entrepreneurship is that people should look at situations and problems and come up with interesting ways of resolving them that will make money for them, including technology, for example. A lot of our problems, security, unemployment, all these problems can be solved by technology. So which means we have to change the method and approach of teaching or inculcating knowledge. But what I want, as much as possible, is that we have the capacity in this country. We can actually engage our people, charge them, to want to be innovative, to create these things. These things he was talking about chips that are placed on cattle in Botswana and all that. We can do that. I believe if we challenge Nigerians can do this. If it can be done in Botswana, it can be done here. We have, I saw a video of a secondary school in Kenya, whereby attendance is taken by, when a student comes in, the Tom Prix. It was developed, somebody developed it there. So I challenged my ICT in my own university to do the same, because I want to do what? I want us to be able to get attendance automatic. What does it take? So what I'm trying to say is that the way the world is moving is towards technology. We must all embrace it. And we have what it takes. Our youth are very creative. We have to engage them, but we have to change their mindset from thinking that they will get everything from government. But those who are leading us should lead by example. They should not be riding the biggest jeeps in town, the largest, when they are moving around with so much security around them. Meanwhile, there is no security with the poor. We need to do that. We are not a very rich nation, but we are a nation that is rich in its potential. So we should stop deceiving ourselves that we are rich. We are not, because if you look at the resources we have, given the population we have, it will not go around. Okay. But we can actually engage ourselves to actually bring out this wealth. We have what it takes, but we need the political commitment, and more importantly, they need to live within the means of what we can afford in Nigeria.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okuku, investment expert, it was nice having you on Tuesday Live tonight.
Right, thank you very much.
And Professor Judicial Angle, it was also nice having you on the program.
It's my pleasure.
I've always had you via Zoom and
yes.
to hear you physically.
Yeah, I'm here now.
Okay, we looked at NSAS protest, the cost to the economy. Thank you so much for your tweets and your phone calls. It added value to the program. On behalf of all of us, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
NTA, you can't beat the reach.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you. In your living room, office, and everywhere, anywhere. We provide a company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs, and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV channel 251, GoTV channel 91, Freeview channel 264, or live streaming via www.visiontv.co.uk. Application for iOS or Android. Intelsat 901/332.5 degrees east. You can also see us on Facebook and YouTube for quality content on the go. NTA International, Africa's window to the world.
Issues in the sports sector remain one of the most debated among Nigerians due to the passion, followership, government involvement, impact on Nigeria's external image and our national life in the sports parliament. The NTA offers Nigerians deep views on issues with experts in the sports sector, offering in-depth analysis, hindsight, insight and foresight towards elevating Nigerian sports to the zenith on the floor of the sports parliament. Sports Parliament, a unique platform for sports discussions, showing live on the NTA. Keep a date with the parliamentarians.
Your eyes have it.
You can follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at NTA News Online, or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop, or iPad, or download the NTA mobile application from your Play Store or App Store. NTA, you can beat the rich.
Dialogue, empathy, love, and unity. These are vital components of nation building.
We have lived in harmony with the Igbos, with the Hausas, with the Edo. Everybody that comes to this state, we have lived in harmony. Because we believe in the unity of this country.
We call for peace, we call for calm, but we also call for justice and accountability.
Let's build and not destroy.
This is the network service of the NTA.
Yes, sir.